Brightdale, or the Brightdale outpost outside of Brightdale, on your way to, in a roundabout way, to get to the temple ruins where Katarina Mir was last seen. Um, you discovered a few things about her research on the trip that was sort of like retconned into the game, as far as like her sort of mistranslation of Sylvan and Dwarven, and you believe that she was looking in the wrong place, but you're still looking for her stuff, so that's really the more important thing. So you had taken a job from Charles Blackwater to deliver goods to the Brightdale outpost, just a way to make some money on your way. And as you got near the outpost, you were stopped by one of the Dranier Rangers, named Anvir Llewellyn, and told you that the outpost had been taken over by a group of mercenaries called the Kestrel Couriers. You agreed to help him remove the mercenaries from the outpost, which you did, killing a number of the couriers before their leader Tura called a truce. She and her remaining men left without further incident, and you found a halfling named Iggy Thrushtail in a cell of the outpost. Very excitable halfling, provided you with a magical black box of sorts. Said that it would prove that Charles Blackwater himself had a role in this overtaking of, well, basically exploiting Brightdale. But he said that it would have to be delivered directly to Charles himself. And he also showed you a secret passage within the outpost, where the mercenaries were hoarding all of the spoils that had been taken. You gave Iggy a letter, if I recall correctly, to take to Stormhaven, suggesting that the Luvenhelm family take over the shipping route between Brightdale and Stormhaven, which he agreed to take. Anvir, your newly found elven friend, left to go to Brightdale to fetch the mayor. His name is Tiberius Trickfoot, and asked him to come back so that they could sort of survey the outpost to see, what had been done, what had been taken, and all that fun stuff. You also decided to take a few trinkets from the stockpile yourself. And I think that's everything. We sort of left it as you guys were going to sort of hang out at the outpost for a bit just to wait for Anvir and the mayor to return. And unless I'm forgetting anything, I think that's where we start.
That pretty much goes along with my memory of it.
And
Sounded right to me.
I assume that the 5 temporary hit points Ragna got are now
At
just
this
gone?
point, yeah, they would be gone. So they would probably last once per long rest. That's probably, and they would
Makes
be.
Sense.
It's been it from where you are. It probably would only take maybe an hour or so to get to Brightdale and back. So the distance wise, Anvir himself could probably get there quite a bit faster, but he's bringing an elderly halfling with him on the return. So it'll take him a little bit more time to get back than it would have for him to get there.
And if I recall correctly, I think when we finished fighting, it was morning.
It would have been pretty close to it, yeah.
Because I think we kind of started the assault, like, definitely while people were sleeping.
Yes.
Okay.
And you snuck around for a bit. You all went to sleep, and then or you went to the place they asked you to sleep, and you decided not to instead of murdering people.
Hey, murder hoboing is a stressful job.
So yeah, at this point it would be getting close to. I mean, the sun might be out, but it'd still be quite early. So is there anything that you would be wanting to do in addition to what you'd already done while you were waiting for Anvir and the mayor?
I nabbed some gems.
Yes,
I
you
got
did.
5 rubies, I think.
Yep.
Can I go through some of the like stuff to see if there's other company names or people or anything like that that I recognize that were stolen from?
Yeah, you could search because most of what you would, I mean, you did do a investigation check of like the hut, but if you're looking through some of like the ledgers and the paperwork and stuff, you
Yeah, I want to see
probably
if I could find any good information on people. Not really worried about what's there, more so about like paperwork, information stuff.
yeah, you would find mostly things related to the Blackwater Trading Company, which
Okay.
was not unexpected to find, but also the only thing that would have stuck out would be that there is a connection to, and they're one of the factions in Discord. They call themselves the Backbreakers, and they work on the docks. They control a large section of the docks, calling them Backbreakers, obviously, as
Okay.
they are the ones that transport things back and forth. And I would say that Signa and Ragna both would probably, without any roles, know that the Backbreakers work for the Sunstrom family quite often, and not really the Leuvenhelm family. And I would say probably the Leuvenhelm family doesn't have a whole lot of import-export business anyway. As I mentioned, I think in the first session, most of the wealth that the Leuvenhelms have is they own some land outside of Stormhaven that is like used like English estates, so it's like farmland and livestock and stuff like that. That's where the majority of their income comes from. They don't have a lot of businesses, and they are not one of the richest um, noble families in Stormhaven. So, whereas the Sunstroms are probably the richest. So you also found, so you've got now multiple connections. So you have the Blackwater Trading Company. You have the Backbreakers listed as big involved in the transport of some of these goods, and also you did find some of in the loot hoard. You found, I believe it was a gold bar that had the Sunstrom family name stamped on it. So
Yep, that's me. I think I'm probably going to start moving stuff out of the cave. Not into the middle of the compound, but just somewhere easily more accessible.
okay.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. I'll
And
help
there
you.
are because I mean even the one that you had, I mean, so there are wagons and like I mean donkeys and horses and stuff. So if you really wanted to, you could actually just start loading it up with the intention of taking stuff back to Brightdale itself. Because you're not entirely sure what the mayor will choose to do as it relates to this place, but
We can do some loading up then. But yeah, primarily just getting as much as we can out of the cave first, then placing it where it needs to go.
Yep. Ragna would also help with that.
and we'll say that Signa helps too because she's probably the strongest of everyone in the party. So
That's where I've got noodle arms.
let's see, let me double check. Let's see how strong is Signa. Let's see. Signa
18
is
is my guess.
16.
Oh, Ragna is stronger. She's at 17.
So Signa's actually really strong across the board. She's 16, 16, 16, 12, 12, 10. So she's very good across the line, but she's actually doesn't excel in one thing. But yeah, she's a well-rounded character. So either way, I imagine the Luvenhelm ladies are the strongest of the party. So if that's what you guys are doing, that would certainly take up enough time for Anvir and Tiberius to appear.
Before that, Ragnar would just say to Arvid, I wouldn't sell that gold bar in Stormhaven, by the way, if you intend to sell it.
Well, I've not actually decided what to do with it. I understand its currency, but I don't have a fantastic use for it.
Yeah, as long as you don't decide to sell it in Stormhaven, because of the family crest. And she points to it and just says, they're a noble family there.
If that's the case, do you want to keep hold of it? You can decide where it needs to go.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, it's no problem for me. And I'll hand over the £1 gold ingot of the Sunstrom's emblem.
And I don't have an image of it because I'm not an artist really, and the images that I used for the other ones were obviously ones that were found and not ones that I made. But the image of the Sunstrom family is actually it's a white sun with like a dragon head in front of the sun. That's their family crest. Probably like on a red background if you were looking at it from like if it was on a flag or something. Obviously, you wouldn't see that on a stamped piece of gold, but it's unmistakable. A sun with a dragon head in front of it. It's very clear what it is.
I would spend my time going up and keeping a lookout of like near the front gate to see anyone approach
I
while
did
they're
actually
doing all the heavy lifting.
I did forget last time. So you guys had there were guards outside the gate,
Hmm.
and I forgot they were even there. So they didn't participate in the battle at all. I'm just assuming that they were actually not they were not part of the Kestrel couriers, and when they heard battle, they just ran. So you didn't see them again.
Well, that the Toro was definitely not a fan of them, so I'm assuming they didn't
Yeah,
like her either.
So
Did you say what was the colour of their emblem?
so it would
White
be
sun with
basically
a dragon on a red banner, I think.
yeah. So if it was like you think a red background and then a white sun, and then in front of the white sun is a dragon's head, which I don't know, pick a color. Doesn't really matter what color the dragon is, I guess. But I'm not a graphics artist, so I could probably make something. I'd probably make something if I have. And I was gonna let because they are Terra's creation. Terra, if you ever want to decide to make the family crest of the Lubenhelms, go for it.
It's a lion on a shield. That's how far I've gotten.
Cool. So we have the So what is it? Is it the Lannisters versus the what was the in the were the dragons?
Why can't I not think of the name right now?
I know because it's
Targaryen.
the Targaryens.
Yes.
There you go. Yes.
Yes, I had to think of Daenerys' first name before I figured out Targaryen.
Yeah. I season 8 made me totally despise that show, so I just decided not to.
Doctor
remember,
Who
I
is going
guess.
to be in the new one.
Well, what's interesting is that there you go.
I've literally just made that now for you.
You need a white sun. You need a white sun in the
Oh
background.
shit! 1 second.
I don't know if anybody ever read this series. This is off topic, I guess, but on Amazon Prime they're doing the Wheel of Time. Those are slightly older. Those books are actually older than Game of Thrones, and in fact, George R.R. Martin credits the Wheel of Time as being the reason that Game of Thrones even exists in the first place. And it's funny because I started rereading those books, and it's actually, they call it, it literally, he stole like one of the things, I think it's called the Game of Houses, like in like the first book, the very first book of the Wheel of Time, he makes mention of the Game of Houses, and it's exactly what the Game of Thrones is,
Mm-hmm.
the premise. It's like he just stole the whole idea behind it. But I will say the Wheel of Time is a very difficult read. It's 15 books in total,
Yeah,
and
that's
they're long because Robert Jordan was the writer, and he liked to ramble. And he's also one of those writers that, like, if the characters will walk into a room and then he'll spend half a page describing what the room looks like. It's like, dude, we get it. We get it. Move on, right? And then also he died. So like the last 3 books are written by somebody else. So
That's the worst.
probably the same thing is going to happen to George R. Martin too, because dude is like 75 and he's not even close to finishing his books. Anyway, back to the actual game that we're playing. So Anvir and the mayor Tiberius appear.
Shit, wrong one.
So Tiberius will walk up to whoever is he sees first, make his introductions, of course.
I'll hop down from where I was like keeping lookout and greet them.
What is our adventuring group name, by the way?
That has not come up yet.
You have not decided. So Anvir will also come in, say, everyone, this is the mayor of Brightdale, it's Tiberius Trickfoot. And you can see that Tiberius is a very old halfling, and you can tell that unlike Bilbo, he's not a sprite old halfling hobbit. He's got a cane. It's a little shaky on the cane, but kind of wild white hair. But looks very pleased. Looks very alert. He looks old, but he doesn't look necessarily frail.
He's not
or
senile.
Yeah, like crazy or anything like that. And, so Anvir tells me that you're the ones that liberated this outpost.
Yeah, yes. We were on our way here for business, and Anvir here had a bit of information for us before we reached that was very troubling.
Well, and he sort of looks at Anvir and says, well, he's been a good friend to Brightdale, and I appreciate you risking your lives to help us when we've never even met. And he you can see that he's got sort of like a satchel, not a satchel, like a I don't know what they're called. A man purse, right? Like it's a leather sort of like carrier pouch
Like a
thing
thong?
on the- Yeah, so he's got that on the side, and you see he starts like digging into this thing, and he pulls out like I guess there's like, how many are you? There's 5, 6 of you, 5 of you. So he pulls out these papers that look very official, and they've got like a little seal on the bottom, and he just starts handing them out to you. And as you take them and look at them, they actually like describe. It's lengthy, but the gist of it is that you've all been made honorary. I don't know how to, not members, but you're honorary
Citizens?
Guests.
citizens. That's the word I was looking for. Citizens of Brightdale.
I will take time and actually look through this documentation very thoroughly.
Okay.
Are there like I'm looking to see like how much they know about us. Are there names or anything, or is it just like the person holding this?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's
Okay.
it's not that in
Okay.
depth. But it does have like a very official looking seal on there. But yeah, it doesn't specifically say your names or anything like that. So it seems again much more of a kind gesture than anything like truly official. But But he doesn't really say anything when he gives them to you either. He just sort of like, again, just sort of like hanging it out like a little flyer, like, oh yeah, here you go.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
I'll just
you're free to come to Brightdale. You don't have to stop here with all of this. And he just sort of like looks around and gestures to the outpost. I'm not sure we're going to continue with this. I will have to discuss possibly with the council in Stormhaven how we'd like to continue operating the trade route.
William will kind of look and say, um, there might be a possible solution for that already in the works, and he'll like gesture over towards Ragna and Signa and say, these two are the in charge. They come from a family in Stormhaven who have sent requests for aid in the outpost and along the trade route.
Yes, we are of the Luvenhelm, a noble family of Stormhaven. And we would be happy to continue the trade route, and should any other mercenaries come to your town, protect your town as well.
And he just kind of nods like, "Well, I've never heard of you, and please take no offense to this, but I think considering what's happened, it may be still best for us to at least discuss with the council what best to do."
Of course. My father will likely send an envoy to have discussions.
Wonderful. And maybe Anvir could escort me to Stormhaven. He sort of looks up at Anvir, and Anvir kind of like, I guess. It's not really like, Anvir is a ranger of the forest, right? Like he doesn't really go to Stormhaven for anything, but
Well, we do have more business to handle in Stormhaven. After we finish around in this area, we have to travel into the forest for a bit. But if Anver has prior commitments, we can take you on our way back.
Anvir just kind of raises his hand a little bit. No, that won't be necessary. I can assist. I certainly can't let him go alone, considering what we've done already to assist them. It would be a little bit silly. He kind of trails off, like kind of like you can tell he's gonna do it, but he's not like particularly happy about it. And Tiberius like kind of like pats him on the basically on the knee, basically. That's a good lad. That's a good lad.
Arvid, do you want to show them where you moved their belongings?
Well, sure. If you'd like to follow me, we've got quite a supply, which I believe some of this might belong to Brightdale. I'll start heading over to the area where we started storing and loading objects.
All right, he will head off with you, and Anvir will stay behind and kind of look around at everybody and say, again, I appreciate your assistance in this. I understand that you all are heading into the woods for something.
I'll nod, and I'll just kind of look back at Ragna and Signa and Johan and just say, yeah, not exactly sure what we're going to find there, but it is something we must do.
Yes, we're looking for the ruins of an old dwarven temple.
Sort of nods. Well, there aren't too many dwarven ruins in the forest. Would probably be closer to the mountains if you were looking for something dwarven. Do you happen? I mean, do you know where you're going? Are you just randomly going into the forest?
We do know that it's between the Refler forest and the mountains. And Tara, the player, doesn't remember if we got a map, but I vaguely
Yes.
recall.
We did, yes.
Then she'll just say, "Oh, there is a map," and I don't know who has it, but we can
I don't
show
know
it
who
to
has it
him.
either. But yeah, Dresden gave you a map and showed you and he marked that spot right.
Yeah, so she would show the map and say, "Do you know anything about it?"
And he takes it, looks it over. he kind of chuckles a little bit and says, "Oh, this is not the most accurate map that I've ever seen, but in this general area, I do believe that is possibly the ruins of Steelbrook." And I will, in case anybody wants to write it down. And he looks a little bit concerned and says, "Well, Steelbrook Brook was a village, as far as I know, that was partially built into the side of the mountains, but that general area of the forest is not traveled too often. There are actually Steelbrook and there were a couple of other villages, one of them not particularly close, but another one relatively close to Steelbrook that, well, all of them were essentially wiped out for different but all very strange reasons. Most of the Draenir don't go anywhere near it. Some people claim that all of those locations are haunted in some way.
Do you know the reason that Steelbrook was destroyed?
Um, Steelbrook is probably the place that is considered the least strange as far as the abandonment of the village. This was all many years ago before I was even born, and he doesn't specifically state it, but Anvir is actually, in terms of an elf, he's actually quite young. He's in his 50s, which is obviously for an elf very young. But he says,
That's like saying the human is 12.
right, so he is an extremely young man. So, well, I've never actually been there myself, but I do know that at some point there were rumors of Steelbrook being overrun by creatures, and I know that the druids eventually locked down some of the temples and things to keep bandits from going in there and getting themselves killed. There's actually and he mentions the other places. So there's a village to the south near Oriath, called Ethuil. Very elvish name there. That was supposedly corrupted by a witch who was, here, let me pull this up, whose name was Yaga the Unclean. So Oriath, the larger village to the south of Ethuil itself, is one of those very mysterious and strange places where the elves always say too that the veil between life and death in Oriath is very thin, and so most people don't go there. It's a haven for people that view themselves as outcasts, people that don't feel like they fit into normal society go there. So people aren't sent there as outcasts. People choose to go there because they believe themselves to be outcasts for whatever reason it may be. But Ethuil was a fairly thriving village. Mostly, it was like a place of worship for Melora, and wiped out by, apparently, Yaga the Unclean. And then there is also near Steel. Well, no, I guess it's not near considering the size of the forest, but there is also a village called Oakheart. And when he mentions this, actually, when he mentions Oakheart, Johann, you get that name when he just mentions it. You get an image in your head. You get a flash of. You can see a village, and you see like it's almost like it's a town square, but it's not really a square. It's actually like a circle, and there are these stone and wood buildings that surround this circle, and then in the center there's like this big stone plinth. It looks almost like a big stone table.
Okay.
But you get this image of this place when he mentions Oakheart. And Oakheart, he says, basically everybody just vanished from that place one day. There was no seemingly like nothing terrible seems to have happened. Just everybody was just gone. And so if you go there today, it is basically just ruins because it's like the forest has started to take over, so the buildings are all covered in ivy and vegetation and stuff like that. But it's a very eerie place because it's sort of like that stopped in time sort of thing where something just, if you think of like, Chernobyl and all those things where people just left and everything that was there was left exactly as it was, as if people had just got up and walked away one day, leaving everything.
Yeah, like tables are set and...
Yeah. But you get a flash of what you assume is that place when he mentions it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly, like the office, like that's what my office was like at work. Is like everybody just because we assumed we were only going to be gone for a couple weeks, and then it's 2 years later, and we never went back, right? So.
Is it worth swinging by Oakheart? Is there anything of interest that might be found?
There's no valuables there, as far as. I mean, this Oakheart's been abandoned for hundreds of years.
Mm. Well, the name sounds familiar, but I can't recall where I've heard it before.
So it's
If we-
probably about a 3-day journey from Steelbrook to Oakheart if you went here, because it's going to take you guys from where you guys are. It'll probably take you about 8 days to get to Steelbrook, and then if you wanted to check out Oakheart as well, it would be another 2 or 3 days.
It looks like it's a little bit deeper into the forest instead of just following the mountains.
Yeah.
I feel like I've come across that place in my studies. If we have some time later, it might be worth checking out.
Perhaps on the way back.
Yes,
I
we
would
could
say,
always take a forest travel instead of the road.
Johan, the image that you had of the place was not the overgrown description that Anvir gave of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you probably even saw in the image, you probably saw people milling about as well.
It definitely strikes my fancy, but I'm not gonna try to push it yet with people that I am still unfamiliar with.
So that's kind of the lay of the land that Anvir gave you. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to do or ask or anything before you head out?
I will turn to the group. Do we need any sort of resupply before we head into the forest?
Took
Gathered
some, yes.
rations.
Yeah, you got some from the outpost.
Okay. Can I? Did he give us like a description if he knows of the dwarven place?
He said that the most
I don't
likely,
remember if he said, because I'm just thinking it's in the mountain, right? So do we need like any sort of climbing gear, or is it kind of just like caves?
you wouldn't need climbing gear,
Okay.
no, anything like
Okay.
that. So it would be,
Like at the
It was-
base of the mountain or something.
yeah, it's base of the mountain. It's sort of like a lot of dwarven places, it would be like dug into the mountain, and then it's not. Steelbrook wasn't an exclusively dwarven village, so there would have been, probably not anymore, but there would have been like other like houses and things outside of the mountain itself. But he does believe that any temple that would have been dwarven related would have been 100% built into a mountain, to the mountain.
Okay.
Dwarves tend to do that, for their deities.
Mhm.
Well, there's really only the Moradin, I guess, but
So sorry, Ragna, you said you needed supplies?
Oh, no, I said I already got supplies.
Oh. Well, then if there's nothing left, I'll turn to Tiberius. Can you handle the return of the goods from here?
oh yeah, I've got some of my lads coming up as well.
Very well. Shall we head out then?
Yes. I suppose we're ready.
No time like the present.
Very well. And we're off.
And Shane, just the way, just as a clue, Sam has been playing Signa very much like the barbarian you would think, just like smash first and ask questions later.
Yep.
Sort of.
I had a feeling. I have not listened to your games, but I have been sitting in the other room when they happen semi-frequently.
So, yeah, definitely not the most diplomatic character, but
Barbarian diplomacy.
exactly. All right, so you guys do have essentially 8 days of travel time to get to where you're going. Let me do something here. So while that is going on and I'm setting something up, if there's any discussions or things that you can think that you would want to do on your travel there, feel free.
Probably say to the entire group, well, we're actually getting relatively close to our destination. Just a couple of days now. Is anyone feeling nervous?
No.
Not particularly.
There are many things I feel nervous about, but where we are going is not one of them.
Well, for me, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what a dwarven ruin on this side of looks like.
Are there many dwarves where you come from?
Well, there's some, not a lot.
I've never been to the any other realms. Something that is definitely interesting.
Well, it's not for everyone.
By the way, the story that the mayor was telling us about Oakheart, do you have any insight onto what could make a village just up and disappear? Like, is there anything that could have happened with the Feywild or something?
Well, quick clarification, real quick. I was under the impression that it was the people disappeared, not the entire village.
Yeah, no, it is the people.
Okay,
But
all right. I thought you meant like literally like
the
okay.
town. No,
Yeah.
no, no. Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if like maybe I know portals to the Feywild can open sporadically. I was wondering if one could have opened and transported the people out of there.
Well, let me think about that, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't need to roll on. I mean, you wouldn't need to roll on it. I mean, like most of the portals that would open. I mean, they're not large enough to like envelop like a village and then like like so they would be something that would open and then you could walk through it, but it's not like people would be taken away without choosing to walk through a portal or anything
Yeah,
like that.
kind of like gateways, but not just one area is gone.
Yeah.
Well,
But you would be able to say that the Rethalor Forest is a likely place for um, portals to the Feywild to open, um, particularly in places, as I mentioned, like Oriath, which is a weird sort of place to begin with, where the the barriers between planes of existence is thin, and not just the Feywild, but like the Shadowfell and all sorts of places. So again, Oriath is not generally a place where your regular folk tend to go. It is a strange and mysterious place.
well,
It's also sorry. It's one of the oldest um, established villages, cities, whatever in all of Asilra. It is one of the. Was founded by elves, and it is extremely old.
okay. Well, well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can wait out your explanation.
That's right. Go deal with your dog. I'll just say it when you get back, bud.
Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry, guys.
So, if you guys would like to, anybody who would like to roll like survival checks to keep your um, ration supply up, want to do hunting and things like that. Remember, we are tracking these things
Sure.
because we've got 8 days.
Yeah.
I assume the barbarian is proficient, but maybe
Is
not.
still rolled poorly.
And worst case scenario, you always have like the good berries, right, to keep you alive. The lembus bread of D&D.
Mhm.
Everyone loves the magic bread.
So also, as I did with the last one, I'm not going to make you roll for 8 days worth of evening watches, but we will do a few. So we'll say that on the first 2 days go relatively uneventfully because you're not really deep into the forest at that point. But on the third travel day, and so there is a very faint path that those of you with survival, so Signa and Arvid, you can get that there is a faint path here, but it's not very well traveled, and it seems like it has not been traveled very often recently, for sure. A bit overgrown, and most people like Ragna. I mean, it all looks exactly the same. She has no idea what you guys are looking at to even determine. To the lay person, it doesn't look like there's a trail at all. Um, and so it does slow you down a little bit um, as you start to get deeper into the woods, and you do notice that there is a lot of canopy cover. So it's dark, even though it may be the middle of the day. So it is not. It's very easy to lose track of time here. Um, and you do, of course, hear all kinds of wildlife and nothing particularly close or concerning for the first couple of days. But you guys do settle down for the third evening. Um, and if you all would like to decide how you would like to do your watches, you can do so.
Well, I think as the only elf, I take the 4 hour shift.
Yeah, Ragnar can take a middle shift.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll take one with another person because I'm human and I can't really see that great.
I'm sure Signa would offer to sit up with Ragna.
Yeah.
Ragnar has dark vision at least, so there's only 2 people with dark vision. bunch of humans and whatever, and a machine.
Yeah, I'll take the first watch then. So 19.
All right. So, with a 19, you don't really hear anything outside of what you would expect to hear. I will say one of the things that you all are noticing is that first of all, it's getting quite cold. Just the weather in general is getting cold because it is the middle of, well, it's essentially the middle of November. There are only 11 months on this calendar, but it's getting quite cold. And it's even colder in the woods because you're not getting a whole lot of sunlight. So in the evenings, you would all probably need to start bundling up quite a bit. Um, so you do hear um, some wildlife. Because it's getting cold, you don't hear a lot of insects, but you do get the distinct feeling that you're being watched. You don't see anything, but you just have that eerie sort of feeling that like somebody's watching you. And it feels like there's somebody like looking behind you. You look behind you because it feels like there's somebody staring at you. But you don't see anything and you don't hear anything. It's just a feeling.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep this feeling to myself for now, and I shall allow the next group or person to do their watch.
Yep. Ragna and Signe.
Sounds good.
Ragna is too busy being enthralled by being in a forest. She hasn't left Stormhaven, so.
I say, despite being at disadvantage, Signa did better. Swear this woods is cursed. Barely a trail to follow. No game to speak of. Chill in the air. This place unsettles me.
It seems rather nice, actually. It's peaceful.
Yeah. Maybe too peaceful.
I suppose you do like the action.
I just wish there was something here I could, take care of instead of just having to sit and wait for something to happen.
You could try hunting again tomorrow morning.
Yeah. It's done us a lot of good, but who knows? Maybe we'll find something.
And with those rolls, Signe, you would what you just said. I mean, like the place feels eerie. It feels weird. You don't get the same sort of feelings that Arvid did, as far as like you don't really feel like people are staring at you or watching you, but it's just an unsettling place. And especially because like outside of the fire, especially because you don't have dark vision. I mean, like it it's just pitch black. I mean, like there's so much forest cover. Like you can't see stars, you can't see the moon. I mean, you might as well just be sitting in a a closed room with no windows. I mean, there's just no light to speak of except for that fire. So it's not the most fun anyone's ever had, probably. And whoever's next can go. And again, because it's getting cold, and there are no insect noises. When you don't hear any, wolves or any other sort of like noises or owls or anything like that, it's also just like near dead silent, which is a very eerie sort of thing to be. Pitch black. You can't see. It's like sensory deprivation. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Great to
It's
sleep
exactly what I was just thinking.
in, but yeah. So I don't know. Do we have another?
Alright.
Yeah, we have one more.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. I will sit up next to the fire and just kind of close my eyes, and I will try to just listen as best I can, because like you said, I can't see shit anyway.
And I forgot, Johan doesn't really sleep anyway. He could have been just sort of sitting there in
Yeah.
that his little scanning mode the entire time.
I mean, I wouldn't like. I don't know how much these people know about Warforged, but I would still like not try to be on guard all night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are the worst two to go
Yeah.
together.
You guys are sitting in the dark and it's
Well,
quiet, and you're like,
my perception's pretty high. Is the sad thing.
so yeah, you guys. I mean, you don't notice really anything either.
When we're sitting there, I'm gonna kind of look over to Johan and say, I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but were you always like this?
No. I think I did. I explain my story to you guys before we. Like sorry, I'm just thinking back to the first session. I think I would have explained some of it, just because I know there's the whole like necromancer thing, like just like hey, you know,
well,
I'm
I don't know that.
cool.
I think, yeah, I don't think at the outset you actually said it out loud, but you did describe that you were trying to find a way to resurrect your daughter, which would have then also had to have led your explanation to everybody else that you yourself were not originally, like, that you were a human before, because obviously a Warforged is not going to have a daughter.
Mm.
So yes, I would think that, I don't know that you
Okay.
actually did, but you would have had to have explained that to them, that you were a human and that you
Unless no one
transfer.
asked until now.
Yeah.
No, because it was. I know that there was a point of contention. It's just like, how comfortable would the party be walking around with a necromancer, and it's like, so explaining my story is something I would have done up front to kind of be like, look, I'm cool, man.
Well,
But
and Dresden also spoke up for you,
yeah,
and
vouched
Dresden,
for me.
yeah.
Alright,
So
So
then the actual question will be, how long ago did you change from what you were?
I don't know exactly. My memories seem to have become a bit hazy since the transfer, but I do recall as far back as about 4 years ago when I initially started uh, working at the university.
It is. Is it all technology? Is there a bit of arcane in there? Or I just don't understand how it works.
That would make two of us at the moment. I seem to need to rediscover whatever it was I figured out originally.
Hmm. Well,
It
working
is
at the
definitely. Hmm?
well, working at the school or at the university should be a good place to gather the knowledge. So that was lucky.
Yes, but I've seemed to hit a bit of a wall, which is why I am here now. I'm hoping that I can find some inspiration with you guys.
I wonder if you worked there prior to what you remember.
Perhaps, but the only one who might know is Dresden, and he has not spoken of such things to me. What about you? How have you come to be in the employ of the Leuvenhelms?
It's been a few years at this point. I have my set of skills. I'm good with uh, following, gathering information, being unseen, and originally came from overseas, but ever since I've been here, the family's been rather good to me.
Hmm. That's nice. It is important to find those that we can seek refuge with. It must be nice to have a large umbrella over you.
Oh, a large umbrella that you work for, but still, it is a bit of comfort.
I will give you a slight nod and kind of go back to just kind of staring out into the darkness of the evening.
Yeah, the rest of the day out or the rest of the night, I'll just kind of, once the sun starts coming up, just unpack a couple of rations and start cooking.
And as a point of clarification for everybody, because I didn't really, I think I touched on a little bit, um, but all of you would know Warforged in general. Obviously, Johan is a different scenario, but I mentioned the Warforged and how they're created, and then they sort of like are in a sort of indentured servitude to the people that created them, but then they're let go because again they're considered sentient people, and it's wrong to keep those people enslaved just because they made them. So it's about 20 years or so generally that they say, okay, we you've paid us back for creating you, basically, is kind of the deal. But Warforged are two things basically. So you in addition to the Warforged, nimble rights exist in this world as well, and nimble rights would essentially be sort of rudimentary versions of the Warforged, where nimble rights are
Automatons, right?
right. They're clockwork, more like sort of like steampunk gear things, but they don't have the breadth of intelligence that a Warforged does. I mean, Warforged have their own thoughts and their own feelings, and they really do have sort of like their own personality and their sort of like inner life essentially, and that's why they're not. That's why people don't keep them forever like you would like a nimble right, which is has some amount of intelligence and they can follow orders, and some of them can speak, but they are not considered like quote
They're
unquote
things.
people, right? They're things.
It
So
reminds me of like iRobot, like the one robot who has a conscience and memories and feelings, and then the rest are
yeah,
just
I mean that's
robots.
that's basically it. And there are um, cases where nimble rights have sort of um, done the Pinocchio I'm a real boy scenario, and they've sort of like awakened to higher levels of intelligence, but that's a rare thing. And they are essentially um, similar to each other in their construction and the way that they're created. So um, there is obviously a lot more magic involved in a Warforged, and that magic is what makes them more conscious than a nimble right would be. So just an aside there, and that's for everyone here. I mean that would be common knowledge, so it wouldn't be anything that like you would have to study or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And Warforged, of course, these days being a bit of a misnomer, where they may have originally been created as soldiers. Currently, Asilra is not in any sort of there's no wars going on or anything like that. They're still created and they're still called Warforged, but they don't serve their original purpose.
Well, we're created for a purpose, right? So
Well,
our purpose is original, like us, Matt. God.
yes. So, the rest of the evening passes uneventfully. Um, you guys get up and travel on the next day. And as you're traveling along the next day, everybody just go ahead and do a perception check for fun.
Oh, I'm great at these.
Ah, Ragna did something.
Shucks, only a
Ow.
23.
I got a 1, but it could have been worse.
So, Ragna and Arvid both nearly simultaneously, off to the side of the road, you both notice what remains of what was probably a campsite. You can see that the ground appears to be torn up, and what appears to be dried blood stains on the rocks sort of around there. Um, and you sort of get the feeling that violence probably interrupted someone's rest. It looks like this doesn't look recent, but you do see this.
Seems like we'll have to be extra careful going forward at night.
Mm.
Well, that seems fair.
And if anybody
Um,
wants to investigate, like
I want to
yeah,
see if it looks like an animal did it, or if there's extra like footprints or something like that.
so survival checks if you want to sort of take a look at the aftermath.
Sure.
I will leave it to others.
I'm bad at it, but I want to try.
Signa will just heft her axe and keep an eye out for anything moving in the woods nearby, just to be on the safe side.
I will pick up the puppy and stuff him in my coat.
Oh yeah, we
yes,
have a puppy.
they have a
There's a puppy?
Puppy
There's
is a very it's a big puppy.
yeah, it's
Well,
Sure.
believed to be a hybrid wolf, dire wolf hybrid puppy.
Oh.
Because they
yeah, we
killed the
murdered
rest
its
of them.
parents.
So
Oh.
They
Um,
attacked us first, so it's okay.
this is true. So William is the only one who rolled this, and well, rolled, but Arvid failed. Funny enough, the DC for this was a 10, so William does
Thank
actually.
God.
So you take when you look at this, you see that there are some very old-looking tracks of booted feet. So there's somebody that got up in their bare feet and started running. But you see booted feet and horse hooves lead off along the trail that you guys are already going, so it doesn't go off in a direction that you wouldn't be going anyway.
So it's going in the direction, not like where we came from.
Yeah, it's going towards where you would have been walking anyway.
Okay.
And you get you it's difficult to, because like I said, it does appear to be quite old. But you do get a little bit of here and there along the rocks. You spot a couple of like spatters of blood, and probably several miles down the road, you actually see the remains of a man leaning up against a tree, very dead and very dead for quite some time. And you can see that like the clothes have started to rot. Doesn't appear to be, obviously there was wearing boots, but not a whole lot of much else, it looks like. And what he was wearing is sort of started to rot away. And there are very faint bits of flesh still remaining, but it's mostly just skeletal at this point.
Ragnar would just give a quick prayer to Arathis to we just hope this man had salvation afterward.
Well, whatever killed him, it didn't eat him.
Are there
And I'll
any
say-
visible like injuries, like like if a bear bit him, like kind of look like for broken bones or anything like that?
You would guess. Well, do a medicine check, I guess. Anybody who
Why wisdom all the time?
is anybody even
Yes.
proficient in medicine? There you
Fucking
go.
One.
At 23. Do you have a +1 to wisdom apparently? Because are you just giving yourself guidance all the time because you can do it for free?
I'm just giving myself guidance all the time.
So yeah, Arvid and Johan would both, based on what you can see, if you actually take the time to go and look at it, you don't see any, like the bones do appear to be, there may be some cracks in the bones, but they don't appear to be, they appear to be post-mortem, the bone cracks, but you see some scrapes on the bone too, which means that it looks like maybe something tried to eat it. It's very difficult to tell. You would assume at this point that the blood and everything, he probably bled out, and the whatever it was that killed him was a flesh wound that just bled out. He doesn't appear to be like any sort of like smashed bones or anything like that. It may be like maybe it was femoral artery in his leg was cut or something, or his neck was cut. It's hard to tell, but you assume that he bled out in some way and that it wasn't any like sort of like bludgeoning damage to the person. And it's a man. You can tell with a medicine check it was a male. Probably a human. It's sometimes difficult to tell humans and elves and half elves, but considering the bone density, which is probably a bit larger than an elf would be, you would assume and guess that it was a human male. And I mean, hell, with a 24, um, probably within the last 5 to 10 years.
Oh, that not recent.
Yeah.
Yes, it seems to be a couple of years old, so. But yes, seems like the poor fella bled out.
But I will say too that you could still see additional uh, footprints continuing down the path that you are going.
What is there anything like else with the horse too? Didn't you say it looked like someone got on a horse and like left?
Yeah. You putting two and two together, you assume that it's possible that there was a dude on a horse that was chasing this guy
Okay.
potentially, and after this guy seemingly died or was dying, the other person continued on. And it's one of two things, right? So it's either a there's two people, one person on foot and another on horse, or it's one person that was walking with a horse. But you do still see hoof prints and footprints, one set of footprints. So at least one person, potentially two, if there was a person on the horse as well.
What if it's like the Sand People and they just walk single file so you can't discern
Hide
their
their
numbers?
Could be.
And then the last question is, how big are the footprints? Does it look like halflings? Does it look like it's human? Does it?
Yeah, I mean, human elf that
Okay,
size.
so definitely not too small and not bigger than humanoids. Okay.
Although halflings do have big feet. So, but
Mm,
based on the stride, I would say
gotcha.
that yeah, they not halflings
Right.
or gnomes.
Hmm.
Well, it looks like our journey to Steelbrook's looking a bit more action packed.
Well, but these tracks should be years old, no?
I mean, they're pretty faint at this point, but again, the reason that you feel like you see them is that so another thing that you find about this place is that everything that you're walking through, it's very dry here, and again, because of this very thick canopy, you don't get you get the idea at least. There's not a ton of rain that actually hits the floor, if it hits the ground, and so all of the water that's coming in is taken from the leaves of the trees and then down through the trunk, obviously. But you notice as you're walking, there's a lot of snapping and cracking as you're stepping on, you know, dead leaves and branches and twigs and stuff like that. But you get the idea that there's not a whole lot of rain that hits the forest floor, which makes it slightly easier to track some of these things because they haven't been flooded over. And obviously you would have to sort of like kick leaves away and things like that, and over time they would have faded just because that's how earth and things move, but you can still track them. And again, the estimate of 5 to 10 years, it's hard to say. I mean, it could be newer than that, but it's old enough that you're not like it was yesterday, you know.
Mhm. Gonna kind of just give it one last look over and just say, this must not be a very well traveled path. If and he'll look to Ragnar and just say, I'm not very religious myself. Is it custom to bury or burn?
Uh, is there a custom that Islar uses? I assume just bury.
It would be dependent on religion and uh
Whatever's
general.
convenient.
eh, well, it would be it's two different things, obviously. So it's um like racial. So like dwarves would probably bury, elves would probably burn bodies, but it's also dependent again on the religious practices of whoever they choose to follow. Um, the idea being dwarves obviously returning their bodies to the stone. Um, elves not really viewing the mortal bodies as something worth caring for because that's not that person anymore, right? Um, I don't really. It's not described in anything as far as Exandria is concerned. So like as far as Arathis is concerned, I mean you can just decide what you'd like it to be because it could change too. Because I mean again, this is what's great about this. Is that we're way before any sort of canon stuff on Exandria anyway. So just do whatever you think Arathis would do. The goddess of judgment and law and
Yeah, I think cremation makes sense.
Do we have time for a cremation?
I mean,
Well,
it's probably somewhat dangerous to do in this dry.
I was just about to say that
God.
in character.
California.
Like, is that actually wise to do in this forest?
She looks down at her feet and notices the dryness for the first time since walking and is like, probably not. I suppose a burial would be all right. I mean, obviously he may not be a devout of Arathis as I am.
I just see it as a bit disrespectful to just leave him here.
Of course, we can most certainly bury him off the path. And she says path very skeptically as she looks back where they've come.
And another thing that you could do is that you could do the stone burial because it's probably also kind of a pain in the ass to try and dig this dirt
Next to the mountain.
Yeah, so you could, like where you you lay the body down and then you just pile up stones over top of it.
I mean, I
That
could
works.
just turn
I don't know
into
what
a
that. I don't know. Is there a name for that? I'm sure there's probably something that there's like
yeah,
You guys know
a mound.
yeah. So that's probably and there's enough loose stone around that you could easily do that. Especially because I mean it's not even. I mean at this point it's pretty much bone, so it's not like you even have to have that many stones to cover the body. So that would probably take you maybe half an hour to do if you chose to do it.
I don't think he'll have any complaints regardless of what we choose to do.
Stones it is.
Let's do it. Either way, he deserves a proper burial.
Yeah. So, yeah, William will just like grab the remains, trying to make sure not to snap a bone or an arm off or anything, and just drag him off to the side and start
Yeah, I mean, like
covering
at
him.
this point, you would probably have to take him in pieces because if you do try to
Okay.
move him, I mean, he's pretty much
Okay.
going to fall apart. There's not a whole lot
Alright.
holding him together anymore.
Hey, come on, Necromancer, just make him walk over there.
Yeah, wake him up.
Yeah.
I'll bring him over piece by piece then.
While that's happening, we would be remiss to not do this over at some stage, so I'll cast Animal Friendship. And I roll to tame the wolf. Because it would have been mentioned at some stage before then. So
And Shade, if you want to roll for a Signe, she was very intent on, and she named the wolf too. So if you want to do like a animal handling check as well.
yeah, probably more than likely have advantage
Sure.
because it's our friend for 24 hours.
So the idea being that first, there you go. First, the idea being that just to tame the beast, and then potentially later on train it to bite people's faces off. So yeah, you guys are doing quite well, making Aster not want to eat your faces. So. And I would say even in the short time that you guys have had, Aster, you can see that she is getting larger already.
Seems to quite like those little morsels of ration.
Yeah, maybe you guys could even train her to be like Scooby-Doo, and you can train her to sniff stuff out. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Should we be concerned if one day it goes,
Yeah, give her some Scooby snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, once you guys do that, you can continue on through the next couple of days, and I won't make you do any additional rolls on that. And you do start to get the impression now, because you were told by Anvir that you generally would be about 8 days or so. So, you are getting quite close. We'll say this is the 7th day of the journey, and everybody go ahead and do another perception check.
And when you say getting close, you mean to Steelbrook, right? Not to
Yes.
the where we're.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Perception.
I'm just so attentive.
She's paying attention to the dog. It's fine. To the wolf. So Signa doesn't notice it right away, but once everybody else notices that, she does as well. Which is that off, you would assume probably a few, maybe 50 yards, maybe closer. You start to hear a I don't even know how to describe it. Sort of a guttural sort of not really a moaning, but kind of like a gurgling sort of sound, and you hear this kind of movement back and forth, and it sounds kind of like a person who has like a lot of phlegm in their throat, and they're just kind of like almost like it sounds like they're choking a little bit, but it's that sort of gurgling, gross sound, and you can kind of hear that sound occasionally, and then you can hear sort of like a bit of a not quite a thrashing sound, but you can hear a bit of movement, something rubbing against something else.
I will try to sneak over real quick and look.
And Bregna will have her sword out and shield.
I'm just going to take a drag on my pipe.
I'll try to just go like hop tree to tree to tree and just like get a vision on what is making the noise and stuff.
So, in the distance, you actually do see what appears to be a person. That it looks like they're trapped in like the roots of this tree that has it sort of like wrapped around this body, this person, and the person's kind of thrashing around a little bit. Do a perception check as well.
Great. Oh, not bad. Okay.
Oh damn! Are these trees that eat people?
You can see that person that is moving and gurgling is not a live person.
Okay. Like white skin looking like it's dead, or is it like
like
deteriorating zombie type
I mean,
thing?
it looks like a zombie.
Okay.
With the idea probably that it's just too stupid to get itself out of this tangle of trees.
All right. I will sneak back and just kind of look to Johan and just you might be the best to take a look at this.
I will step forward and be like,
And I'll look to Ragnar as well, and I'll say, I don't think a blade is necessary just yet.
If you say so.
You guys can all walk within close enough range now to see it, and you do get like this is the gurgling sound. We've all seen zombie movies in The Walking Dead, like that sound. That's what you hear, right? And you can see that it's very, it's not obviously it's not trying super hard, but to like actually get itself out. You can see that it's trying to move away, and you don't you do get the impression, and Arvid probably would recognize it more than anybody else. I mean, it does appear that the tree did actively sort of grapple this thing, but the tree itself doesn't currently appear to be doing anything like the tree, I guess, doesn't appear to be alive or active or anything, but you can tell by the way that it's looped around this body that it was not something that a normal tree would have done, right? So like it's not a trap or anything like that. It does appear that this was a fey tree essentially that tangled him up. And you also were probably following the you would guess that the footprints that you were following, here's your guy. You don't see a horse track, so the horse probably got away. Or you don't see a horse body, rather, so you assume that the horse got away.
Well,
What do you guys
should
want to
we-
do with it?
should we put it out of its misery?
I
That was
believe
my
so.
thought. Poor wretch.
As long as we can do it without getting close, I think that's fine, but
Um,
I don't...
if you like, I can give you these stones. The magic.
I am not the best aim when it comes to throwing things.
Well,
Maybe someone else.
these stones you'll be throwing them like I'm throwing them.
I think I'll stick to my spells, but maybe someone else will be interested.
I mean, it's well, first of all, and this is actually a general question for everybody because I don't know. I don't believe within D&D lore that zombies turn other people into zombies when they bite them. That's not.
Oh no, it's more. I'm more cautious about the tree that grabbed
Well,
it.
I know, but that's actually just a general question. Like, I actually don't think that's the case. If anybody knows,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Because
Well,
I
real
also
quick,
think that
Just because there's no mechanics like on the creatures to like have them spread it to people.
did anyone point out about the tree or no?
Arvid
Because
probably
if
would
no
have
one
mentioned,
did,
yeah.
if no one did, William is just going to walk over and try to end this thing.
William, probably come back for a second.
Don't we want to put an end to it?
Do you see how that tree's currently wrapped around the poor fella?
I didn't. Yes, now that you mention it.
Well, that tree's got a connection to the Fae.
It's it's from a different realm.
Not exactly, because it seems this whole area has a connection to the Feywild. Certain trees or certain elements are more attuned to it. So this tree, while not probably sentient, still retains a little bit of, well, Fey mischief.
The tree grabbed him,
Pretty much, and kept him tied up.
and William will just take a bunch of steps back.
Would you like a stone?
Yes.
Yep, I'll just start casting magic stones and handing stones to people to throw.
Alright, yeah, I will throw
Sure.
stones from a very good distance away.
Yep, up to 60 feet, and it's a +6 to hit, and it's 1d6 +4.
Yeah, I mean, I will just throw him until the thing is dead.
Yeah.
Probably don't need to roll for those, but yeah, I mean it's like it's the dunking machine where you're just throwing like baseballs at the little target, and eventually you do hit it, and it does when you do hit its head, you see that the skull is somewhat soft, and then it just makes a squishing sound, and you get some brain matter that splatters on the tree, and then it just sort of like falls limp. Tree doesn't move. The grapple around the body doesn't change or anything like that.
See, I can make these little stones like really fast.
But Arvid, I guess probably do an intelligence check. And also, Johan, you could do one too.
Or you said intelligence?
Yeah. Okay. This is it's a good roll because this is your forte. Based on what Arvid was mentioning about like and also what Anvir had mentioned as far as like the forest and the strangeness of the forest, it's not common obviously for just people to randomly turn into zombies. So you imagine that there is, in addition to the Fey touched tree, there may be some darker forces about in this forest as well that cause this person to become a zombie.
Is there a reason why the other body we found wouldn't have been a zombie? Is it just like, I guess this force is newer?
No,
How
I
far
mean,
away are we from the first one we saw?
well, at least a day
Yeah, so
travel.
maybe
But
the
yeah,
area.
yeah, I mean, because you're getting closer to Steelbrook, and remember, Anvir said that Steelbrook in and of itself and Oakhart and all that this general area of the forest is strange, and many people claim that it is haunted, and that even the Draenir don't spend a lot of time here, mostly because people don't usually come here, so there's not a whole lot of patrolling that they need to do.
Okay.
But yeah, this general sort of, I mean, this whole general area of the forest is kind of mysterious, and down here obviously as well. I mean, generally the entirety of it is, but and the deeper you get into the forest, the stranger it is. But that's part of the reason that you have the Circle of Arda and the Draenir that spend a lot of time in the Rethlor forest, because it is dangerous and it is scary, and they want to keep people from doing dumb things, or like, hey, you know what? Let's build another village in the middle of the forest, and then, oh, wait a minute, we're all dead now, right? So they want to keep the forest to the creatures and things like that, and obviously keep the bad things in rather than having them come out. So you don't have a specific explanation as to why. I mean, you do know that obviously dark forces and magic are, and necromancy are things that would lead to the undead. So it's, at the very least, the tree is not, the tree's weird, but the tree's not necessarily a sign of anything particularly bad. The undead is generally a pretty bad
Bad
indicator.
omen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha. And I will relay as such to the party. Um, it seems that there's some dark forces at work here. Whether or not someone has taken up residence somewhere nearby, I can't say, but best to be on your guard.
Just out of curiosity, to turn something like that, would it be a corpse or would it be a living person at the time?
Um, DM, I think it would probably be a corpse.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Something of this low quality probably was a corpse before it turned.
Um, my concern is we're going to an old supposed temple
Mm-hmm.
in the stone of the mountain uh, for dwarves. I don't know much about them, but I do know that they are buried, uh, sometimes in tombs, sometimes in the ground. If someone who is good with the undead and that sort of magic were to have a whole temple full of corpses, that could be very bad for us. Yes.
It depends on how long they were there. I mean, judging on what that was, their skill is probably not very high, but they might be there to learn or experiment.
Yeah. Just I've never. I work with living people. I've never experienced this before, so pardon me if I'm a bit overly worried.
No, your fears are well founded. I think that if we were dealing with something excessively dangerous, we'd know it by now. But it's best to always keep an escape route in mind.
Mm, Yeah. Yes. Uh, Noted.
I think before we leave this scene, I'll walk over to the tree, place a hand on its trunk, rest my head against it, and in Sylvan, well, you can rest now, friend. He's taken care of. And let the others know we're coming through. No nasty stuff, please.
And
Right.
as you would
I
then,
can. I
I'll
kind
say,
of look at whoever's next to me real quick and just say, is he talking to a tree?
That's what it looks like.
I thought it was dangerous.
Hey, he seems to be all right, other than the talking to a tree thing.
Well, maybe it's a thing that they do where he's from.
I want to be back in the city.
and Arvid, as you step away from the tree, I've done that. You can see that the roots sort of uncurl from the body, and then they sort of like retreat back, and then you see them kind of sink back into the earth, and the zombie just sort of falls flat and kind of rolls down a small slope where you know the the roots of the tree were.
Well, such a kind tree.
Yes, I'm sure all the trees are pretty kind.
I I basically told him that, well, he can let him go. He's been dealt with, and to let his friends know no mischief.
Well, that would be very kind of him.
Can they all do that?
Well, generally, normal trees, no, unless you make them sentient, and that's quite an advanced form of magic and not recommended. But everything in the Feywild, whether you think it or not, is alive in different ways. So if you think something can happen, it probably can.
All right. So after 2.5 sessions, you guys reach the destination that you set out to reach. Um, so you, on that 8th day, it's probably getting close to evening at this point, and you can see sort of remnants of stone buildings, which you assume, and they're kind of like overgrown in the trees, and you get the idea that this is some of the um, outbuildings that Anvir mentioned. And then you can see that there is a bit of a not quite a valley because it doesn't actually go down, but there's a split in the mountains that you can see, and there's a path that's going back. Um, and that is actually where we will pick up after we take a quick break because I'm going to go grab a drink. So go to the bathroom, feed your pets, whatever you need to do. Like 5 minutes,
Sounds good.
we'll come back and we will start.
Oh,
Sounds good.
feeding time is 9 o'clock. Although Louis believes it is now, regardless.
Well, yeah, pets don't really get the memo about daylight savings.
That's true. All right, I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
The joys of trying to pick spells for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So how's everyone's week been?
Good. Next week, I have some time off, and I am so excited. I realize I have not had much time off since starting my PhD. So,
Like vacation time off, or just time away from having to work?
time away from having to work. So, I
Basically
wouldn't.
vacation.
Yeah, I wouldn't have considered time off during my PhD as time off because I would still do work regardless. Because the PhD just felt like I had to do that. But now I don't have any evening things I need to do. So it's just being a potato on a couch for 3 days, and I am so ready.
How is it around where you are
Nice.
with like businesses and stuff? Like, is stuff open or is everything still shut?
Things are open. You do need a vaccine passport, which is obviously fine. But yeah, if I want it, I can go somewhere. But I am ready to just hermit myself.
Nice.
Sit back and play D&D.
Yeah.
That is one of the greatest things I can think of about this whole thing is all this COVID shit happened while I'm back in school online anyway, so not that big of a loss for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was having to go to in classes, I'm sure it would suck, but being lucky enough to do online, school hasn't been affected by it. Everything else in the world has, but not school.
So can everybody see where they are on the map?
Yes.
Yes.
There is, for those of you that can't see, you can drag a torch.
Oh yeah, I got it.
From the. Because I put that torch there just so that those of you that don't have dark vision could see where you were, and then because I don't think that sometimes when I place those tokens, it doesn't let you guys move them for some reason, but drag one self.
Yeah, I'll give someone like a moonlight light so they can see.
And if anybody else wanted light, Ragnar can also do it.
What does your light look like?
I'd say it looks like a gold light. Like sunlight. That seems nice.
So we have sunlight and the pale moonlight.
There you go.
Yeah, mine can come from the firefly and yours the moss. Phosphorescent moss.
As we're like approaching this area, is there any sort of like religious symbols around?
Not that you can see. I don't know
I,
how
I'm,
far you guys can see right now, but
Ragnar can see here.
I can see like right here. Yeah, I'm gonna walk next to Ragnar and just say, "Do you know much about dwarven deities, or do you mainly stick to just?" And he kind of looks at the symbol and say, "Yours."
I do have a general knowledge of the Allhammer, but I'm not sure that this is a temple to him.
There's bad dwarven gods. He's the only one I've heard of. I'm not very uh, knowledgeable on this.
Is that something Ragnar would know?
Yeah, I mean the betrayer gods, the bad gods, are not generally race specific. So pretty much anyone can worship them.
Can Arvid overhear this?
He's not trying to be quiet about it. He's like, so if you're in the vicinity, yeah, everyone will be able to hear.
Well, William, can you tell me who the sailing gods are?
I don't. I just know a few of the main ones that I've seen their temples in the city. I don't know much about them other than that.
Well, there are quite a few, both good and bad. And that's just for the elves.
So it's possible then.
Well, and if it's possible.
I would say that generally speaking, if you're talking about dwarves worshiping evil gods, Torog would probably be one of the more common ones. The crawling king, who is the
Underground one.
we have the deadly caves and manacles, and then there would probably be a few. The Dwergar. I just learned the other day that's how you pronounce that. Dwergar. The
I always said
Dwergar.
Duragar.
That's what I always said too, but there's not an R in it. There's not that extra R. But there, yeah. So I looked it
Really?
up. They're pronounced Dwergar.
Huh.
Some of them would possibly worship Lolth, the Spider Queen, which is mainly a drow deity, but some dwarves. And obviously, you'd have dwarves that would worship, Palor and Melora and things like that too. But the Allhammer, Moradin is the general, most common.
Right, well, this is something when we get back to the city, I might have to look more into. Uh, it is very interesting, but also very terrifying to think of the other downside to it.
I will keep an eye out and let everyone know if I notice any religious symbolism I can recognize.
Right. Um, who would like to go first? I can help to look for any traps or anything, but I do not want to be the one first going head in.
Well, I can see in the dark places, so if you want, I'll go first.
I also don't mind going first. I can also see in the dark, and I do have a bit more armor.
Well, shall we go together?
Of course, we can do that.
Be right behind you, kid.
I will say this just out of game, real quick. The map that we're approaching right now is somewhat I don't want to say it's weird, but I would say just for my sake, it's probably best for everybody to generally stick close together rather than having one person like, oh, I'm gonna go look over here, because there's a lot of stuff that you guys could find or look at or run into that
Gotcha.
if one person goes off, you might miss something or whatever. But yeah. So the first thing that you'll see as you're approaching is that it looks like there was at one point was somebody attempted to put up a barrier that has been smashed.
Sorry, I'm back.
Well, that doesn't look good.
I wonder how long ago this happened. Will we expect someone on the inside?
Everybody do a perception check real quick.
What doesn't look? Oh.
Perception.
Oh, great.
Yeah!
Wow.
I got dirt in my eyes. Which one? Both of them!
Signe does actually hear at least a little bit of what honestly sounds like snoring.
No, I can see it.
Sounds like something might be sleeping up ahead.
Yeah, something real
Something
big.
big.
All right. I will put my torch out, and I am fucking blind aside from what other people have.
Well, two of us actually cast a light spell, so there's 2 light spells in the party as well for the people who can't see.
Yeah, I got the dancing lights, which
You all
I
have
will
lights. I mean,
cast and hold on to.
I could create something for that, but I'm just gonna. We need torches for now. I don't know what the light is.
Like
Oh,
20
right.
by 20.
Yeah, the light spell and a torch are the same. The
Yeah, so-
dancing lights are only like 10 feet of dim or something like that.
For now, we'll just
Uh,
use torches. It's fine.
Nah. Well, because the thing is, I could spread them out and shield them.
Well, should we
But you
be-
can see some ruined buildings on the other side of the smashed sort of barrier, and then I don't know if anybody can actually see past the building what at the sound, but
William will he'll kind of um if someone can follow me just to keep a bit of light, I can sneak up and give a look to see what or who is up there.
Can
keep
I?
it quiet.
I can have one of my dancing lights follow him. So
Yeah,
I would
I
like
just
to do
want to
that.
go and give a look. I'll try to
Yeah.
be as quiet as possible.
stealth checks.
Yeah, I'd say just make yourself a torch and have it follow you for now.
Okay.
It's not until we get into combat that it like starts taking bonus actions to move it.
All right. And Matt, which way did we hear the snoring coming from? Was it like up or was it inside of one of them?
That way. Not up.
Right.
Signa will hold out a hand axe to Ragnar. Just, hey, you want to put that light on one of these?
Oh, yes, I can do that. And she'll cast light.
Cool.
Yay.
Can I be
And
quiet
she
again and
also
just?
gets.
Good.
Sorry, I was going to say she gets out her sword and shield again.
Yeah. Can I just like stand still and listen real quick to see how much closer I got?
Yep.
Right. Oh God. Never mind.
Hmm.
Is it still above me or is it off to the side now? Like just the basic direction. I know I can't tell much from it. All right.
I need to keep these within about like 20 feet of one another. So
I'm going to wave them to come up quietly because I don't want to walk too far ahead by myself.
Yeah, let's see
Alright.
how well that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else can roll stealth.
It goes very well.
Wow.
She steps in one of the wood piles and cracks it. Then does a bit of a stumble like this.
You stumble into him and he stumbles.
oof.
Oh, sorry. She apologizes anyway. Despite we're supposed to be quiet.
Right. Just hope no like hearing it, I'm gonna try to go a little bit quicker than I was planning on, and I'm just gonna start moving up.
Oh. Something's.
Oh,
Sorry. Louise
okay,
on my
and
mouse.
Ah,
all right, and William can see something, and he is going to immediately take a few steps backwards and look kind of scared, and just kind of turn and whisper, "Very something very 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 big is," and he'll just point in the direction, and he'll point over here. He'll say, I only saw one, but there could be more. I didn't go any further."
Is that an ogre?
Uh, Maybe I've never seen one. It's big.
Is it ugly? Oh, it looks ugly, so it could be an ogre.
Yeah. Possibly. Do we have to go this way, or maybe we could go, and he'll just like start pointing up in this direction.
Even if we could, do you really want to leave something like that along our way out?
And the The book we're looking for might actually be there, perhaps.
Well, how about this? If everyone tries to hide behind some cover, I'll throw a stone over there to see if I can draw it out.
It's sleeping, right? Can't we just, if we're gonna deal with it, can't we just sneak up and deal with it?
I don't mind that.
Uh, uh, Arvid, can you come a bit closer to me? And see if there's any further inside next to it. I could only see one up against the wall.
Well, it only looks like the one. And it looks like there's a passageway next to it.
Right.
For anyone that's interested, this is appropriate. If you click on the music thing and look at what the name of this song.
Even a giant cry.
It's not a giant, but
Yeah.
still appropriate.
Alright, so
Technically, it
William
is a
gonna-
giant.
Yeah, I guess it is.
William is gonna look and say, I don't want to say this, but I agree with Signe. Better to surprise it than have it come out to all of us.
Oh no, my character got stuck in a wall.
Well, if you want.
How many lights are on this?
Yeah, a lot.
Two. There were two. Thanks. I was trying to, because this is a building, like, right? A ruined building. I was trying to hang out by the windows and I got stuck in one.
Well, so how should we go about this then?
Signa and I take point.
I can probably get pretty close to it if you could possibly just take the angry part away from me once it wakes up.
I'll
I
put
can
my
do that.
hand on his shoulder. Well, I have faith you can get close without waking it up. And cast guidance.
Yeah, I'm going to try to. I'm going to pull two short swords out, and I want to try to get up as close as possible to it.
Signy's gonna draw her second hand axe to be ready.
All right, well, do 7.
And
Plus a
it's
d4.
I will ready my spell.
19 on stealth.
That's actually pretty funny. If it wasn't for guidance, it would have woken.
Oh, thank God. All right, so yeah, I'm going to try to move up as close as I can to it. And I will. I'm only gonna strike it with my. I don't know how sneak attacks go for rogues, but I can only use my main hand, right?
You can just do it once per turn. So if you miss with your main hand and you hit with your offhand, you can put it on your offhand.
As
Oh
long
no,
as
no, I'm not talking about sneak attack. I'm talking about like surprise. I meant to say.
Oh,
Can I use both attacks, or is it just like your initial attack is the surprise?
I'm pretty sure it will. Well, I'm not pretty sure. We'll just use a single attack because actually,
Okay.
surprise attack doesn't exist in 5e. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
a third edition
All
thing.
right. All right. So no offhand attack on this. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure before I did it. All right. So yeah, I will pull the short sword, and I will go to give it a slice. I am going to try to like get as close as I can to where I think something vital will be, and just jab my sword as deep into it as I can.
Give you advantage on it too because I mean it's asleep, so it's not like it seems silly that you would miss
Alright.
it. But
24.
Yeah.
All
at
right.
the very
21.
least, it's prone, so he has advantage.
yeah, I mean it's probably leaning up against the wall. I mean it's not like laying flat on the ground.
All
But
right.
yeah.
So 13 damage, and as soon as I do that, I do not even pull the sword back out. I am going to use my bonus action to disengage and run away.
All right. Well, obviously,
1, 2,
roll initiative. Bye.
6. And I'm gonna go back here.
Oops, wrong button.
Oh, I gotta move my.
Ooh, I'm going first. And 2 of my spells are useless in this fight. Because I'm pretty sure this thing's just gonna walk through and entangle. And sleep isn't gonna do shit.
I've got an idea.
All right, well, Arvid, you get to go first, obviously.
Yeah, so I know where I stand on this, so it's not an issue. I'm going to bonus action cast Magic Stone. Do create 3 stones out of. There's going to be stones everywhere, so I'm just going to create 3 goddamn stones. And I'm going to launch one.
And as you, of course, when you stabbed this ogre, it would have gotten up and started screaming and speaking in like sort of broken common, like, you know, oh, who's there, you know, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
Pings a stone off its head.
I'll take like 2 steps back.
Right. Johan.
I will cast Cause Fear. On
Wisdom saving throw. What's your DC? It doesn't
14.
matter, but I'm curious. Oh, it's at the top there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It failed.
So it has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and it cannot move closer to me.
Pretty good, because it means it really can't move closer to anyone.
Yeah. Is this window like low enough that I could like climb out of it?
They're not really, at this point, those are not really windows.
They're just openings?
Literally, like, the building is falling apart, so you can just walk
Okay.
through it.
I'll just walk up to there. And yeah, just use my magics.
All right.
Death is closing in, and you know, spooky spell stuffs to kind of make it cower in the corner there.
And you can see that it kind of leans back up against the wall and against the rocks, and it's got a little bit of fear in its eyes. And Ragna steps forward.
Yep. She stepped forward, makes it to there, and stabs it with her longsword. Probably misses. Or
It
is
does
it
not. Ogres are quite easy to
Ooh.
hit.
Yay!
Big
Nice.
old sacks of hit points.
Indeed. So you slash it. I mean, I'm not entirely certain how tall ogres are, but you slash at its legs at least, and still sort of like staring at Johan in a little bit of fear, and you're not really paying attention to you, and you jump up and slash at its legs, and it yelps. Poor guy. Did you have any movement aside from
Nope.
that?
That is all she can move.
All right. William.
All right. I would like to, since my other short sword is still inside of him wherever I stabbed him, I will just pull out a dagger and throw it at him. For 8 damage. And I would still get sneak right since Ragnar's next to it.
He's also,
Alright.
I kind of feel like it's, you know, still.
Oh,
focused on
prone,
Johan.
because yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so 13, and then instead of anything else, I would like to duck down behind this, like, whatever it is, like, old broken down statue right here and try to hide with my bonus action. Oh, God.
All right. It is the ogre's turn, and it will attempt, I guess, with disadvantage, right,
Yeah.
to attack Ragna.
And then I think it makes another roll at the end of its turn.
Yes, with disadvantage though as well.
Oh.
Why does it have disadvantage after that?
It's frightened, so I think frightened gives it
Doesn't-
disadvantage on ability, or is
Not
that an
on
ability
saving.
check?
Not on saving throws, though. Those are
Oh,
different.
sorry. I thought. Never mind then. Yeah.
It fails with a 9. on the attack, and it fails a wisdom save. So it is Cygna's turn.
Well, Ragnar ran in, so Cygna's following. And still scared, still doing relatively good. Gonna make an attack with the lit up hand axe. There it is.
That definitely hits it. And
And
it is looking quite injured at this point. It is bleeding profusely. It is sort of like it's terrified. You almost feel bad for it.
bonus action attack with the second hand axe.
11 does hit, and it is still standing.
And there we go. That's the turn.
Right. Arvid, this poor ogre. Staggering around, now at this point sort of like leaning up against the wall. Frightened,
Literally
bloody.
just David and Goliath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got more stones to throw, so I'll just start like whirling up the arm and throw.
Oh, jeez. You guys are so cruel. How do you want to do this? You know, put the stone through its head?
Sure. William will probably just look back for a second and just sees Arvid like properly winding up baseball style and just launches one of these magic stones, quote unquote, through its skull.
Yeah, and you can see it like it sort of like braces itself against like the side of the rock, and then it sort of slams up against this like this wall, and then just kind of like slowly slides down and kind of like lands in a heap.
See what I tell you? It's magic stones.
Whew. Well, that was anticlimactic.
I'm gonna approach it and attempt to retrieve my short sword out from where I stabbed it, and look around to see if I can find the dagger as well.
Figured you would appreciate the song, Shane, since it's from near.
Ah, it's one of my favorites.
I'll let it finish before we switch back.
Yeah. Don't do it on my account.
No, I like it.
We have
I
finished
like it.
combat, but it's a good
It's
song.
actually called it's called a beautiful song.
It is.
Can I search around in the area to see if this thing was like guarding anything?
All of you can do investigation checks if you want to look at the buildings and look at the ogre.
I will just assist William's investigation check.
Oh, I'll do mine at advantage because of incisive sense.
All right, so all kinds of things you find. So we'll start with because you're close. So we'll start with the ogre and the door that it's standing next to. So you can see next to the ogre, it had like this big like sack of like stuff because ogres like to hoard things. So you go through that and you find a fair number of stupid things that you don't care about. So like it because ogres will like hoard broken helmets and broken weapons and things that they think are or not necessarily think, but things that are valuable to them but are pretty much junk to everybody else. So you find a bunch of that crap that's not really useful to you. But you do find 12 gold pieces.
Great.
You also find 15 silver pieces. I don't know how you guys want to put that into your split that up, but so
I'm
12
adding it,
gold,
right?
15 silver, and you find what you assume to be the prized possession of this ogre rather, is a goblin skull that appears to be dipped in copper.
All right.
So goblin skulls are not particularly large, but yeah, it's just the upper part of the skull. It does not include the jaw, the mandible. But it's disturbing, and it looks like it really does. This is not a sculpture. You guys recognize this is an actual skull that has been dipped, probably not professionally, into metal.
Could be nice on the mantle at home.
Perhaps in your room.
Yeah. After William finishes going through it, he just goes over and looks at both Signa and Ragna and which one of you would like what I found? And he just holds out the 12 gold coins, 15 silver, and the skull.
I'm sure Signa can take those. Right, you see Ragna's nose wrinkle as she sees the skull.
Signa will take the skull and just kind of look at it for a second. I like it.
All right. Well, and here, the coin as well, and he just holds it out to either one of you.
I mean, if Ragnar doesn't take it, Signa will.
Nope,
I
you
don't
can
know
take
how
it.
you guys are divvying up loot. Which is
We
why I
honestly
didn't
haven't
take
yet.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you guys.
Gotcha.
The last thing you guys just chose to like pull stuff out of the treasure
Yeah.
hoard.
Yeah. William just works for you guys, so he just gives it to you guys.
You said it was 12 and 15?
12 gold, 15 silver, and then the goblin copper skull.
And it's copper, so you guys would imagine that. I mean, I'll give you an estimated value of that copper skull to be worth maybe about 5 gold. Estimated value of such a thing, depending on the buyer, obviously, because I mean it's kind of gruesome and strange, right? Because it's an actual skull.
And then that
And-
Signa's gonna actually sell that thing.
And also, let's keep in mind too, at least for, and I'm just sort of going off of Matt Mercer's world creation, is that goblins are not, goblins in Exandria are a little bit more sentient and organized, and not quite as horribly stupid and awful as they are in regular D&D lore. They're still considered sort of like barbaric and not super intelligent, but they're
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the feeling that Signa would have liked it if it was a human skull too.
probably.
She's also
Yeah.
pretty intelligent, apparently, right? Doesn't she have a 16?
She's got like a 12 in intelligence.
Wow.
But I mean, regardless, I mean, a goblin skull would still be considered like a you know, it could still be considered a trophy, but it is slightly morbid because I mean, like, goblins are considered somewhat above just a regular monster. And I would say that you do notice that this door in front of you does appear to be magically sealed, and that does jive with what Anvir told you, and that the circle of Arda druids had come along at some point and locked this place up to keep people from A, looting it, and B, getting themselves killed here. So, you can do perception check, Arvid, if you want to see if you hear anything. But also, as part of the investigation that you guys got a lot of, you can see the amongst the you do not hear anything, but amongst the sort of like broken statue here, you do see in its hands that, and it's mostly a broken statue at this point, but it appears to be holding sort of a rusty iron tablet, and it has the following letters engraved on it. Does nobody speak Dwarven?
Ragna does.
Okay.
And you
So-
said that it is something we would understand. Like I could recognize it as Dwarven, right?
Yeah, all of
So,
you
yeah.
could see the script and say, "Oh, well, it's written in Dwarven."
All right, yeah, I
And
would
then-
bring it
but
right to her then.
And in this case, it doesn't say any words that you recognize. I mean, patron, I guess, is a word, and or is a word, and pot is a word, but that doesn't make any sense. Um, but I'll say too, if you, as you're looking at it and you're maybe trying to dust it off a little bit, as your fingers sort of cross over the letters, sort of like if you touch the letters, they glow individually. Like so, if you like touch the P or the symbol of the P in Dwarven, like that particular letter would glow, not grow.
Ragnar would say, perhaps these letters spell something.
It.
I mean, you're the one who can read them, so do that.
Mm. Ragna is not too smart, but she will stare at the letters and scrunch up her face as she's thinking.
I mean, you would be able to, if everybody else, I mean, you could probably, I'm sure somebody has a piece of paper or whatever, and you could translate it into common if you wanted to like let other people look at it.
Yeah, she'll spend like that thinking for like 5 minutes before she's like, perhaps I can translate it. I'm only thinking of patron or pod, and that doesn't make sense.
Did you see the lights when you touched it?
Oh, of course, that's why I thought it spelled something.
It, looking at it, does it seem like it's similar to the magic on the door at all?
Yes.
All right, yeah. He'll point it out and say, perhaps some sort of code words or a cipher to make the door open.
Yes, I believe we have to unscramble the words or the letters.
And you all can actually try and do that yourselves, or if people don't figure it out, you can eventually, we can just roll intelligence checks.
Patron
But
or pod.
Yeah, that's the only words that's going in Regna's mind. I am also myself terrible at scrambles.
I'm real bad at them myself.
See, I've got 2 words in mind, which is Ada and open.
Yeah, open is possible.
Open door.
Open
Part.
sesame.
Open door part. Open part door.
Trap. Trap door open.
As they're all saying things, she would just be typing them in.
Open trap door.
Mm-hmm.
If you try that, it works. It is open trap door. But
Ah,
It's not the door in front of us, it's the door beneath us.
no, it is actually the door close to you. So if you type that in without telling them, William and Arvid are in trouble.
oh yeah, she's just mindlessly
she's
tapping them
sent
in.
to it. Oh God.
So you guys will want to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, that's not that bad for me. As I say that, I'm gonna die.
It's a +3, but I'm not proficient.
All right. So I will say, actually, there's enough time. So she types in. She's just typing in all the things that you guys say, and she types in "open trap door," and both of you simultaneously hear a click, and you both just jump actually and try to knock down Johan and Signe. You just like knock them to the ground as this explosion of like flame shoots out from the door, and like even like and of course like surprise like this heat and stuff like sort of it's not enough to actually doesn't reach out far enough to actually hit Ragna, but you can feel the heat from this flame as it lights up right in front of your face, and then you're still just kind of sitting there holding the tablet while everybody else is laying on the ground with this flame that shot over top of them.
Oh,
William.
Which one worked?
I think the last one probably open trapdoor.
Right. Sorry, Signa, and he'll stand up and like offer a hand to help her up.
Signa will glower at him for a minute, stand up on her own, and dust herself off.
Uh,
Well, we
Right,
can confirm it's a trap door.
And it has been opened.
yes.
Shall we?
Yes.
Maybe now I can I can lead just in case there's more traps.
Oh, of course. I'll let
Sounds
you
like
know
a
if
good
I see
idea.
anything.
Arvid, you want to give me another set of eyes that can see a bit further with me up front?
Sure, why not?
And you guys can go ahead and make another perception check.
Yeah, quick question. How was that loud, or was it more just like the click and then flames? It wasn't like a loud thing.
I mean, it wasn't an explosion loud, but
Okay.
it did make noise.
Okay, so if there was someone close enough, it would have been able to be heard.
Yep.
Okay.
If, murdering that ogre wasn't already loud.
That actually surprisingly wasn't super loud. And let me gotta fix the dynamic lighting because that door was connected to more than I thought it was.
Yeah, dynamic lighting hasn't been your friend on this map. I've seen multiple hidden tokens already.
As far as perception,
Too busy checking out that copper skull.
Already knows where she's gonna hang it and everything.
Mm-hmm. It's a perfect spot, right on my mantle.
so you do hear some clicking sounds, and you can see that the passageway is covered by a lot of spider webs.
Well, I'm going to make an educated guess. I can hear spiders, most likely, and there's a lot of web. So,
We're going to leave.
We have any real fire? Can fix that problem.
I would say also because it's not on the map, but right over in this general area, you do see a corpse leaning against the wall, partially covered in spider web, but it's not like stuck in the spider web itself.
I take it you're not good with spiders then?
Mike isn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The player is not one bit. But William's gonna look and just say, spiders are fine, but those webs are much bigger than regular spiders, aren't they?
Yes, so that leads me to assume that these are big spiders.
That I have a bit of a problem with. But a job is a job.
Do anyone who's proficient, if you would like. If anybody's proficient in nature, do that.
Nope.
I am
Nope.
Nope.
Nobody. Signa's not
Nope.
nature. Wow. Well, you all can roll.
Survival, no nature.
Yeah, I would take survival
Ooh,
for
I can,
anybody that has it too,
I can do that one.
because it's not like super. Wow, you guys suck. No, but it's not like this is not like forbidden knowledge that only certain people would know. I mean, just in general, general intelligence would be that if you don't disturb spider webs, and you're quiet, they're not generally going to know that you're there, right? Like that's how spiders hunt. You flick their web, and something lands in it. So if you're careful to avoid the webs, you know, you may be able to avoid spiders because you don't see any.
Hmm.
We could set fire to the webs as well.
Signa's already got her tinderbox out and is pulling a torch out of her pack. I was like,
I mean, if you guys
yep.
got torches, you can attempt to light them. I mean,
Wouldn't
Wouldn't
that
that
just
just
bring the
yes?
spiders out anyway? Might as well just sidestep them. And she'll step forward.
Quietly.
Clank,
clang,
clank,
clang,
clank,
clang,
clank.
and her heavy armor.
She
Let her
attempts
be.
stealth.
Man, look at
That
that!
does
Nailing it.
better.
Oh.
She could be the noisy dinner bell. I will try to be motherfucker.
Clank,
I
clank.
will try to be shit.
Yeah. And Johan also clangs against it. So that's enough to just go ahead and have everybody roll initiative
Yeah.
while the spiders appear.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do the whole, you miss the first step, you just fall fucking flat forward.
Fall
Um,
into the web.
Too nervous about them spiders.
Sure, I can crit in 2 initiatives in a row, but can I roll well?
And actually,
Like
with
your
that,
third or
like
fourth crit this session too.
Yeah.
Johan will probably have one land on his head with his 5, so that I'll give that one a sneak attack on you. Were those the tokens that you saw, Rob?
No, I'll ping where I'll see the things. So I'm just gonna go outside for a quick second. So I'll see one here,
Oh, yeah, there's no tokens up there.
and
Something else.
yeah, and I've seen something like over here as well on the ridge.
Yeah, there's actually nothing on those ridges. There may just there's a weird thing on there that I don't know what they're supposed to be. Like if they're supposed to be steps or something.
Yeah,
But, they're not
it looks circular, so I was thinking, has he not hidden a token properly?
No, they're not tokens, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's actually on the drawn map. I don't know what they're supposed to be actually. Give me a second. I didn't have my spiders pulled up. It was epic music and I ain't even doing anything yet. All right, so
Another really good
obviously
track.
it's a swarm of spiders, and then there's also a big old like hairy, wolfy looking spider. In fact, a giant wolf spider.
So I assume
Yeah,
that one's getting the jump on Johan
the giant-
first.
The giant wolf spider is. Yeah, I tried to up my combat music game for this one, so I found some. Because normally I just go into like video games. I'm like, okay, let me search for combat music within a video game, but dug a little deeper this time. Okay, so let me get the. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. All right, the song's over. And I didn't get to do anything. That one.
Guess that means we won.
Yep. If combat doesn't start before the song ends, automatic victor.
The professor doesn't show up within 15 minutes of the class starting, it's dismissed.
Yes.
So. Harvey kick and bucket, butt again, and yeah, this is the Johan, a 20 to hit. I assume that hits.
Yeah, 20 hits.
So this giant wolf spider, as you sort of trip up the stairs and make a noise with this rubble, jumps out from the ceiling, or jumps down from the ceiling, pierces into you for 7 piercing damage plus 4 poison if you fail your Constitution saving throw, which you have to make.
Okay, I
Otherwise
think
you'll
I
be-
have resistance to poison also.
You do, yeah, you do.
So is that for before or after the resistance?
So what is resistance? Is it
It's halved.
Half.
halved?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have halved it if you had passed. So if you had passed it, you would have reduced it to 0. So in this case, you take 2. So you would take 9 points total damage.
Okay. Damn.
And Arvid, you are up.
Oh wait, sorry. Hold on. I have advantage on those saving throws as well. So does a 16 pass?
Yes, so you would just take 7, and you would
Okay.
negate the poison. I'm surprised you're not immune to poison, honestly. I guess it's
I'm
too-
immune to disease, not
No.
poison. Yeah, probably
No, no.
because they thought
You
it
are-
was.
You have the same level of resistance to poison as a dwarf.
Yeah, it's just weird to think of a robot being poisoned, but whatever.
But I mean, it's also one of those things where it's like to completely negate poison damage. Like,
yeah.
what if we fight a green dragon? You know?
Well,
It's
it doesn't.
like-
I mean-
aren't paladins immune to poison?
No, but you on T are.
But I mean, the immunity to poison usually comes. I mean, class-wise, much later, right?
Yeah. And anyway,
Like, I
I
think-
mean, it's different when it's a class versus a race. So I get it. You don't want it to be too OP, but
Yeah.
anyway, Arvid, throw some stones at these spiders or something.
Considering that these ones have just come in danger close, he's gonna blow out some smoke quickly, just in front of him, and slam his hands together, and cast Thunderwave.
Which will also hit Signet. Well, I guess it wouldn't have to.
Yeah,
Could
because you
set
can
it so
you
that-
can direct it, like say over here and hit the.
I don't think you can direct Thunderwave. It's
You
from
have to be-
you.
You have to be on a face of it, but you don't have to be at the center of that face.
Yeah,
so
so I
you
think,
could put it.
like,
Let me
there.
draw.
Yeah, like you could do it right below you, because it's 15 by 15. Yeah, you could do it that way, because it just says it's from you
Yeah.
versus out from you. So yeah, you could just sort of angle it a little bit and hit those two. So
So DC 14 Constitution save.
let's do- wow, both rolled 4s.
So they both take 13 damage and are pushed 10 feet away.
Well, you killed the wolf spider, and the swarm of spiders. So I will say, it probably wouldn't go down. It would probably go back like this and get stuck against the walls. So one goes 5 feet, but
Yeah. Bonus action. I'll summon. I'll charge at some stones and take some steps back.
so you
Also-
do. So that thunder wave, you can see it blasts out. It crushes the wolf spider. Just it smashes into the ground. You see the sort of ichor sort of spread all over the floor, and then you can see the other swarm of spiders, these bunch of smaller spiders, a bunch of them slam up against the wall and splatter into disgusting mess, while some of the larger ones sort of just get pushed back and make a weird hissing sound, I guess. I don't know what sound spiders actually make.
Yeah. Also feel sorry for
Thankfully, they're not
everyone
big enough to
else.
normally hear them, but yeah.
Yeah, because that's a deafening sound for up to 300 feet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ragna, you've just been deafened by this sound and possibly covered in some spider ichor. Some legs are stuck in your hair, you know.
Yep. She will wrinkle her nose again, but still go up here and with her ringing ears attack this spider swarm. Trying to, I guess, slash at it, maybe with the flat of her sword to smush a bunch of them.
Or stabbing down and stomping at the same time, but yeah, that definitely hits.
Yay.
All right, so you definitely clear out a few of them.
And that is it.
Right. So these remaining ones will run over to Johan.
And I will be back. It is dinner time.
Okay. And they will run all over. But they're actually weakened because they're at half. So it's still 22 to hit.
That hits.
Johan. So how did this not work? Oh, okay. So you take an additional 6 points of piercing damage.
Oh Jesus. And roll the con saving throw.
No, these don't poison.
Oh.
Just the big one did. All right. The
No fair, I wanted dibs on that big one. Move north. Let's recklessly attack. Good call.
thing. Yeah, good
Thank
thing.
goodness.
And bonus action, do the same thing with the offhand.
All right. Yeah, you smash a bunch of them, and you can see just a few of the larger ones still just sort of like scurrying around, but you cleared out quite a few.
Mm-hmm. And I think that has to be Cygna's turn.
All right, William's turn.
All right. I have seen the big one and now this other group attack Johan, so I will run up and a short sword in each hand and just like aim as low as I can and just try to slice through as many of these little things as I possibly could. So, first attack.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. With a sneak.
They're all you get them all.
Okay. Well then, that was moving 1, 2, 3. So I will, since I can't really do much else, I'm going to move over here and try to hide.
Alrighty.
Oh my god, my stealth is awful tonight.
Johan, reeling from your spider bites.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset and annoyed, and I will cast Chill Touch on the last group. Oops. 16 to hit.
I do believe you have to move next to the chill touch.
Nope, it is a ranged cantrip.
Chill
120
Touch
feet.
is that's the inflict wounds is the
Okay.
touch.
That's a stupid name then. I shouldn't call it that.
Chill
I
touch.
thought the same
Chill
thing.
Touch is considered to be one of the worst named spells in the game because it doesn't do cold damage either.
Yeah, it does necrotic.
That's real weird. Okay, so 16 hits. So yeah. Okay, so you clear them out.
And then I also heal. So how much damage was actually done to them though?
Well, do you need the overage or?
No. So I'm assuming. So I get healed based off the amount of necrotic damage I dealt.
okay,
I'm
so
assuming
then
I can't overkill.
Yeah. Okay, so you would have 4 because there were 4 hit points left.
Okay, so I just heal 1. Yeah.
Stealing the life essence of spiders. That's a good necromancy thing.
Whatever works.
All right, so quick and easy. Spiders are gone.
Quick and easy. Fucking.
Well,
I got wrecked.
for everybody but you.
If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna hang back a little bit
Take a
from
long
here on.
rest. So, you guys can do some investigation checks if you would like for this general area.
Sure. We have advantage.
And Regna would specifically be looking for any religious symbolism.
One of the things that you notice right away, and this is not required even for a investigation check, is this wall right here. You hear a gross sound. You know that kind of like squishy sound, like if you're stirring macaroni and cheese, that little like that sound of noodles.
Squelching sound.
That sounds, yeah, that's what it sounds like. And you can see that this wall down here is like completely covered with eyeballs that are moving around and like looking all over the place and like making that squelching horrible sound.
Signa, I suppose this is not normal from any of the battles you've seen.
Nope, that's a new one for me.
Um, you can do an additional perception check specific to this wall if you choose.
If no one stops her, Signa is going to put away a hand axe, take out a javelin, and poke it.
I will not attempt to stop you.
Nope. Ragna's also kind of curious.
I wanted to do the same thing, but I only have daggers I could poke, so I'm not getting that close.
I mean, the
So-
javelin only has 5-foot reach, but
You, as,
barbarian.
as you poke one of the eyeballs, you need to make a dexterity saving.
Okay, I have advantage on those.
Danger sense.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it explodes and like this sort of like almost like so you're able to jump back out of the way, but as you do, you can see that this eyeball explodes and it's like this disgusting sort of like ichor shoots out and hits the ground, and it has a sort of like it sort of sizzles. The liquid sort of sizzles on the ground
Is
as
it
you do that.
loud when it explodes, or is it
No,
just like
it's
it
just more.
pops?
Yeah, it's more like a pop sound, kind of like almost like popping a like a bubble wrap, that kind of pop.
Ugh.
Um, Arvid with a 20, looking at the wall, you notice that one of these eyeballs, that's sort of like a little bit off center, a little bit up above some of the others, um, it's slightly discolored. All of them look the same except for this one particular eyeball that looks a little bit different. Nobody else notices this, but with your 20, you notice, ooh, that one looks a little different.
Signy, could you
Yeah.
try popping that one? And it'll point out the one.
Yeah. All right. Signa will do the same thing of just like javelin by like the butt end of it and just poke that one too.
Yeah, and when you do that one, right next to where Signa is standing, the wall slides open.
I should also ask, did the other eyeballs respond in any way to the one exploding?
Nope, they're all just sort of like wildly looking around.
Huh.
Perhaps we should check the other rooms here before we go down this hall.
Well,
I
probably a
mean,
good idea.
There's something up there.
suppose that's an option.
William will walk in and try to make sure there's no traps awaiting for us.
Well, yeah, I think we're going up.
Yep. So yeah, I will just go slowly and try to keep an eye out for anything that looks out of the ordinary.
Most of the ceiling has collapsed in here, and you can see some what appear to be like laboratory like alchemy sort of tables, but you don't notice anything trap-worthy by looking. I mean, you can investigate further, but
William will point out in this direction and just say to Ragna and Arvid, looks like another passageway there too. Perhaps it meets up with the hallway, but it is another option.
Well, it looks like it goes further than the walls of the next room do.
yeah, you can see in the all of these bricks here like have like fallen from the ceiling, and then it looks like here the wall is collapsed, but it looks like that almost looks like it was purposely done, like somebody broke the wall down, whereas the ceiling appears to be more like just it collapsed from just being old and falling into disrepair.
Another place to investigate then.
And you can see that, like, of course, the dynamic lighting's screwed up here too.
Mm-hmm.
20.
What are you looking at?
I'm investigating the tables.
There you go.
It got so dark.
I don't know how this. All I did was remove one stupid thing from that uh that door, and it like broke all of these things. And like I'm like 99% sure I didn't have the entire map connected to that one stupid thing, but who knows? Um, as far as we'll do your investigation here. As far as what you find on the tables, it's what you expect. Bowls and funnels and flasks and alembics and all the things that we would expect from like an alchemy table. Um, you find some ingredients, but you would recognize that the majority of them are quite old and likely no longer uh, useful at this point. That's really all that you see. There's not a whole lot of. It's what you would expect. You had expected to see. Nothing particularly out of the ordinary.
That's okay. Also, it says as long as there wasn't any notes or anything, that's fine.
And I'm assuming up there is actually just blocked off.
Yeah, so you can see that like what this is like this is just like been excavated into like areas of the cave, like or the rest of the mountain. But um, you can see originally this used to be a connected corridor that people broke, and in the idea that they were like apparently searching for other things within the mountain. Um,
This one down here looks like a wall. Is this a door?
that does appear to be a door, yes.
All right. William will turn and say, "Do we want to go back and look around before we go through any other doors?"
I
I
suppose
kind of
that
think
makes,
so. I also
yeah,
want to check out this little side room back here that we just went past.
it's getting kind of squishy with my armor.
Very tight squeeze.
I can
You
take
can
a
see that
look.
there's nothing back there. It's
Okay.
All right.
just more of the excavation that seemingly didn't go anywhere.
Oh yeah, probably not the secret passage first.
I mean, I think we should go down the secret passage, personally.
There are some interesting things in here with bones and blood. It does not look like good things.
There's a
Yeah, you
book over
can
there as well.
do investigation checks for this room and like multiple things to look at.
Yep.
Looks suspiciously like an altar to me.
Oh yeah, 13.
So, to the north here, you see this like pool of water. This, um, it is like a 3 foot high circular stone pool, filled at this point with what appears to be quite putrid water. Um, William, if you're looking at it, you can see that there appears to be a bit of a dark shape at the bottom of the pool, and it smells absolutely nauseating. That water does.
Is it like built into the ground, or is it something that can be tipped over?
It's like it's made of stone, so you would not.
Okay, so it's all right. Yeah, I'll look back to Signa, or actually, I'm gonna actually first look to Arvid and say, anything in this? And I kind of look and he's not paying attention because he's doing his ritual. Well, just kind of shrug and say, Signa, do you want to try to fish something out of this with one of your javelin?
Perhaps I should detect for poison and disease, or I can even try to purify it.
Oh, it is most likely disease. Do you smell it? That's why I was thinking the javelin.
Is there something in there?
Uh, if you look, and he'll hold his torch up above and he'll say, if you look down, there's a bit of an outline of a shape you can see.
Eh.
Signa, I
All
would
right.
prefer if I purified it before you do that.
I mean, can if you want to. Certainly, yeah. Why not, I guess.
It'll just take 10 minutes. Whoops, that's the wrong one. I meant this one.
Also, as part of your investigation before, I mentioned this and then forgot that you did it because we went into combat. You did see that skeletal sort of corpse in the hallway by the spiders. So I will include that as your investigation. So you, it appears to be a. Is anybody proficient at medicine? Arvid is, right?
Yes.
I am as well.
Yeah. So you guys both do.
Yeah, retroactive medicine checks.
Well, I mean, you could still just go back, just say that you're going while she's doing her ritual. You could go back and look at it. So with your medicine check, you would assume that this appears to be a relatively young, based on the bones, a young, either half elf or elf female. And you see that she is dressed in sort of rotting leather armor and a cloak, and she's got a pair of like rusty short swords and some lockpicks that are also rusty. She has a money pouch on her with 50 silver pieces in it. You would guess that this may have been one of the adventurers, because remember that Katarina came here with an adventure party. Because this looks like the, knowing what you know, I mean, it was about 50 years ago. A general guess, that seems about right for the state of this body.
Huh.
And what she's wearing, I mean, she looks like she's an adventurer, obviously, with the lockpicks and the weapons and the armor. So that's what you find there.
Fair enough.
And then back to the, so you were able to purify the water.
I was gonna say one thing before we purify. I take it, Ragnar's a paladin.
Yeah.
I know you said 10 minutes, but I don't think paladins can ritual cast. So are you sure
Oh.
you want to do that?
Well, she doesn't have it prepared. I thought it was rituals because it's had the R.
It is a ritual spell, but paladins can't ritual cast.
Okay, that's good to know. It's not prepared, so she wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay.
Does
So,
anybody want to reach in there?
I mean, I'm going with the original suggestion. Signa's gonna try to fish it out with a javelin, so she doesn't have to actually touch it.
It's kind of heavy. Like you hit it and you can feel that there's some weight to it. Yeah.
Like, any idea of what the shape is?
I mean, not particularly.
Can we kick over the bowl?
No, because the bowl's actually, I mean, it's stone. It's actually like it's all one piece.
Oh.
Well, who's got a bucket?
I have a water skin.
William kind of just like lets out a deep sigh and just, oh, please don't let me get sick, and he'll just put his arm in it.
Yeah, you want to pull out whatever's there?
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you pull it out, you recognize why it smells and then why it's putrid is that you pull out a highly decomposed, what appears to be a halfling body wearing rusty chainmail, and there's a sword in there. Well, so it's just you basically just pull out a rotting corpse.
And he'll kind of just gag a little bit. It's just, do we have a thorough description of this adventuring party by any chance?
Well,
You did. Dresden didn't know like specifically the amount of people, but this seems likely as well.
Hmm.
Um,
That's concerning.
Yeah,
if you
Ken, he
search the
just puts it
spot,
back in the water.
you're gonna put it back in the water.
Does it smell worse when I take it out of the water?
Do what?
I'm assuming it smells worse when I take it out of the water.
I mean, at this point, you probably can't even tell the difference.
Okay, then yeah. As long as it's not as long as it's not making it like that much worse, then I'll leave it out. But if it smells that much worse, I put it right back in.
I mean, it at this point your nose is just kind of
Yeah.
overloaded with it. But
Yeah.
if you don't, if you can put it back in the water, or you can put it on the ground. And you can search.
Yeah, I'll put it on the ground. And I will just go through my rations and look for anything that has spices in it and just hold it in front of my face.
And smelling salts and
Yep.
cinnamon. You could find 30 silver pieces on this body, and also a moonstone.
All right.
And it's just a precious gem.
All right. They will both go to Cygnus, and she was the one who was collecting the stuff earlier.
I like how
much
both
was it
Sigma.
again?
It was 30 silver pieces and a moonstone.
Correct.
30 silver?
Yep.
And if you want, just so that, because I will probably forget later on, but if you
And a
attempt to sell them,
moonstone.
yeah, if you attempt to sell the moonstone, it is worth approximately 5 gold pieces. It's actually worth more, but you could probably sell it for 5 gold.
I mean, to be fair, Arvid would probably ask for the moonstone.
Right. I mean, Signa will take it, shrug, pocket it for now. Not the time or the place to be sharing it.
So, where do you want to look next?
Yeah, I'm still ritually casting detect magic.
I will move on towards. I'll follow Ragna and move on towards the altar, just staying right next and close to her so she could smell all of the nice water on my arm and my clothing.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will go take a look at the altar and everything.
So looking at the altar, this appears to be even older. And I'm just going to stop making you roll an investigations check because I'm just going to count it for this because this is all just sort of one big room. But this altar and this book appear to be significantly older than the 50 years that you were anticipating Katrina and her traveling party to be here. So this book, if you the pages are completely brittle. If you try to turn them, they almost turn to dust. So it's very difficult to tell what this book actually is. So these blood stains and stuff and these bones and everything are extremely old. So whatever this was is long past active or anything. So it's not like anybody was doing anything scary or strange recently. This is extremely old. So based
Just
on
from
that, you would assume that this was already here when Katarina and her party came along.
just from looking at it where it is open, is there any way to tell what type of language or anything is written in?
It does appear that it is possibly some faint dwarven. You would guess this would be a religious book, the Holy Book of Moradin would be your guess.
Oh,
From
so
what
it's
you
not like Spider Goddess from.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So
gotcha.
this looks like it looks like it's sort of like a ritual thing, but this was probably just like the preacher's pulpit, and there would have been pews and stuff like that. So all of the blood and everything don't actually appear to be related to the book
Okay,
itself.
all right. So okay, all right. All right. Then in that case, I guess just to the bones and stuff in the middle.
These do look like they were sort of ritually placed, but again, these look really old, and so there's no real rhyme or reason to these. You do notice all of you like down here in this on these walls, like all of the walls down here. There are murals painted. They're faded, but you can make out most of these murals all over these walls here.
Mhm.
There are about 6 of them, probably like 10 by 10. Um, and you can see that they depict the following things. There's like a barren wasteland that has these dark pits and sort of like this disgusting looking like river running through it. One of them is depicting a parched desert. Um, Another one is a. I'm not expecting you to write this down, and not even necessarily expecting you to remember this. So just what you're seeing here. So there's a vast bottomless pit that is circled by like these enormous cliffs. There are some sort of narrow bridges that are strewn across this pit. There's a big swamp full of reptiles, giant reptiles, I should say. There is an endless series of decrepit courtyards with withered fields and like demonic figures depicted. And then there is a wasteland with a large volcano in the background. If anyone would like, particularly if you're proficient, you could make a religion check.
Oof.
I mean, I'm not proficient, but I'd like to make the check.
I mean, no, I would generally give like if you're proficient, you could potentially have advantage. If you are just like I'm not. Yeah,
Signa knows more religion than Ragna.
the barbarian beats the paladin, and actually the other two failed the DC. But Signe, maybe in your travels or the training that you have had, this all of these different scenes, um, each individual one would depict a different layer of the abyss, basically. So it's kind of in this case, there's 6 of them, but sort of the 7 layers of hell type of thing. But yeah, so it's different layers of the abyss. You would recognize it. Maybe it was in a book that you saw, but yeah. You also get the impression that these were probably not original to the Moradin temple.
You seem a bit out of place. I mean, who puts abyssal iconography inside a temple to a good god?
Perhaps the temple was taken over by a cult or believers of demonic gods or deities.
I mean, some betrayer worshiper in here would explain the bone situation and probably the spiders too, frankly.
Is there any abyssal on the murals? Can I read it?
There's no words. There's just some.
Uh, well, should we check out the other passage now?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
I will say too that considering that Signe was able to recognize that it was the abyss. Tharizdun, the Chained Oblivion, is sort of who's the mad deity of death and trickery. Um, is sort of is within the abyss. There's also Narul, the god of death, who sometimes inhabits the abyss, but that's not his domain specifically. So Tharizdun would be worshippers of Tharizdun would be what you would assume when you see things like this.
Kind of stuff you gotta know if you're getting ready to fight demons, potentially.
Oh, yeah, I'll keep doing the same. Just trying to make sure we don't step onto anything explosive and make our way. Before I'm gonna let Arvid get close enough because did you tell us you were casting detect magic?
He did.
Okay. Oh, it wouldn't have been the 10 minutes yet?
It probably would have been at this point, I would say. And in the room that you are in, you do not currently detect any that you're in.
Cool.
I'll wait for him to come up to where we are so I could just. Last time we opened up one of the doors, it was explosive, and then the eyeballs also exploded. So I kind of want to wait to see if there's anything magical near these doors before we go in.
What's the worst that could happen? More exploding eyeballs?
Yes, that would be very bad.
What do my magic elven eyes see?
You see two doors in the hallway. They both appear to be locked, but your elven eyes do not see anything magical.
All right. I will attempt
Actually,
to.
what? Hold on. What is? Let me scroll. What is the? Okay, detect magic. If you're 30 present magic with 30 feet, penetrate most barriers, blocked by 1 foot of stone. I would say you do actually detect a bit of magic beyond this door. Kind of in a nebulous sort of way. Possibly, or more up, I guess. There's probably like more towards like what you would assume would be the ceiling of this room, not the door. The door does not appear to be magical at all.
Well, the door's normal, but there seems to be something magical on the other side. Maybe on above it.
Right. I will try to open or pick the lock, and then Signa or Ragna can go in before anyone else, I guess.
Yes, we can.
Sure.
All right. Here we go, and I will try to use tools.
Damn.
All right.
Yep. Unlocked.
And
Easy. Easy peasy.
I do not even open it. I move out of the way and let them go first.
Right. Signe opening the door.
Signa kicks the door open.
Bam. Okay. And as soon as you do, you all need to make a Constitution saving throw. As soon as the door opens, you all hear an absolutely ear-splitting siren-like sound.
Oof.
Signe and Johan are both okay. Everybody else, take 4 points of damage as you actually start to go into this strange sort of like frenzy. This sound is like driving you crazy, and you actually, all of you, to make the sound stop, you actually smash your own heads against the wall, taking 4 points of damage.
Great.
And it is currently not showing any signs of stopping. So everybody but Johan and Signe are sort of like in a frenzy trying to make the sound stop.
Is there an obvious source of the sound in the room?
I mean, it's coming from the room, and opening the door triggered it. That's all you know.
Is this some form of charm?
You don't know.
I mean, I'm assuming that even though Signe passed the save, can still hear it.
It just hasn't driven you crazy.
Yeah, so any obvious source of the sound
Nope.
other than the room in the abstract.
The room is the and the person who detected the magic, I mean, could sense that it was above
Yeah,
in the
look
room,
up.
but
Let's see.
but you don't see anything specifically.
Nothing on the ceiling, anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, pull the door shut again.
It stops. It was not a charm. But so all of you, as soon as you close the door, the sound stops. You also saw a treasure chest in that room when you opened the door.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, which you shouldn't have seen before, but of course, you saw it through the other wall.
I didn't. I just saw that I could see through that wall, and I was like, oh, I bet this is like a secret door or something.
It wasn't a secret door; it's just the other side of that wall that you shouldn't have seen.
Okay.
Maybe plug our ears before we walk in. Stop the
Or-
sound.
Sounds like an
Perhaps
option.
the
Except
ones
we're
who
still
were
gonna
not
need
affected.
hands to drag that out. So, who's got something to plug up your ears with?
Like candle wax. Anybody have that? Like candles in their packs. To light some candles, shove some wax in your ear.
I mean, I'm thinking just like cloth or something.
Regna has fine clothes for some reason. She can tie that around her head.
I would say something that you could fully plug your ears with, so like wax or something like that, you would be able to withstand it. Anything else, like covering your ears with like cloth or your hands or whatever, would give you advantage on the saving throw. But unless you can make the sound go away, you would still have to.
Well,
roll.
as you guys are thinking about going back in there, William is gonna just go back out. He's gonna just walk past you all and say, "I'm," and, like rubbing his head. He says, I'll keep look. That was very loud. In case anything is coming, I'm gonna just hide out in the hallway and keep watch."
What?
No response, and he is out of that fucking room. And he'll
Uh,
he'll like just peek around the corner and like be quiet.
Signet probably has some hearing damage from getting smashed in the head fighting a lot anyway, so she was able to withstand
It's
it. So.
entirely too much like tinnitus.
Yeah. I don't know
Sigmund
if
just sitting
anybody
there.
ever
"Ma,
watches like
ma,
yeah, I was gonna say like
ma,
from Archer
ma."
when he's like mop. Yep. Such a good show. Anyway, yeah, so if you guys have anything that you can fully close your ears, you can do it without worrying about it and have everybody else leave the room. If nobody has anything like that, you would have advantage by like wrapping stuff around your ears.
Yeah, I'll just wrap for advantage.
Yeah, Regna will do that too.
All right, wrap for advantage it is.
I will back off.
Yeah, and you guys would want you would probably want to leave the corridor entirely, like this whole hallway, so go back out there.
Yeah, all right, that is fine.
Let
I
us
will
know
just-
when. We'll give them a
I
moment.
mean, you guys will probably hear it, but it won't
Yep.
it won't like
affect
be,
us anymore.
Yeah.
Are you two sure you want to stick around for this?
I think it'll be okay.
Just
Just
thumbs
close the
up.
door if you see us hurting ourselves.
All right. And Signe's gonna kick the door open again, planning to just run in, grab this chest, and drag it out as fast as possible.
Right. So whenever you guys are ready, go ahead and do a con save again with advantage. Good. You see, you didn't even need your advantage. So you guys all hear it. Just do a strength check real quick to see how quickly you can grab that chest.
Sure.
Well, if it's a check, I'll guide you.
And Regna will help.
Can I make that athletics?
Sure.
Or just strength?
Yes, athletics is fine.
Okay.
Because you're kind of running in and grabbing it.
And guidance, you said.
Yeah, guidance.
Now, should Ragnar roll separately?
No, I mean, because I would imagine that you were just helping her by the. I mean, I
Help
guess if you were
action?
helping the help action, because you guys together can't stand in that room like shoulder to shoulder. It's not big
Okay.
enough. So you could basically just sort of like grab her by the waist and kind of pull while she's pulling. But yeah,
Okay.
that's enough. You really need a 10 would have been enough.
Yeah, I'm
So
close to.
you can grab it, drag it out, and then you can close the door behind.
Well, I'll go grab the other two.
Once I hear the sound cut off again, I will.
William?
Yep, coming.
You want to go ahead to the chest?
Is it locked?
There is no lock on this chest at all.
All right. I will look at it for any sort of traps before I open it.
Nope, just appears to have a basic like latch. It looks like there's a latch and where like a key would be, but it's not locked.
Yeah, I will just kind of look at everyone and just say, I don't see traps or anything like this, but perhaps just back up just in case. We haven't had the best of luck so far.
True.
Well, it doesn't
And once
appear
everyone is like
magical.
at least like 5 or so feet away, I will pop it open.
All right.
Go for it.
And opens up, and you find a decent amount of stuff, useful things. I don't know how you would necessarily. It would probably take some time to do this, but you find 700 silver pieces.
I mean, how much of that can we actually take as a group?
Exactly. So that's up to you.
There's 1, 2, 3. There's 5 of us. If I add 100 silver pieces, I go up by 2 pounds. So if we took 150 each, that would be up to 750. So yeah. So everyone take 150, and one person takes 100, right?
I'll take 100.
Yeah. Everyone else takes 150.
Signet can carry a lot of crap too. I think so.
Yeah, Signet could probably take all of it in theory.
You also find 25 gold pieces.
All right, Signet could take that.
Sure.
You find 3 obsidian stones worth roughly 10 gold each.
Right.
You find 3 spell scrolls, which are probably useless to all of you. I don't even know how spell scrolls work. Can any caster use those, or
I
is it
think
only
any
wizards?
caster can. There's just the chance that
As
it
part of
doesn't
the
work.
list, right?
Yeah. So what it is, I'm playing in another game right now where this is very relevant. It's if you are a caster and it is a spell on your class's list, you can use it. And if it isn't on your list, even if you're a caster, you're out of luck. And if the spell is a higher level than one you could cast, you have to make, I think it's an Arcana check whenever you try to, and if you fail that check, like it just fizzles and is wasted.
These would probably be vendor fodder for you guys then. So there is a spell scroll of, and I guess you could conceivably that it'd be required to identify on these, but I'm not gonna make you guys do that. I think that we do have some casters, and you could read the spells well enough. I think. So it's dancing lights, which some of you can cast anyway. There is a scroll of mage armor, and there is a scroll of misty step.
I mean, we have a necromancer. Those are both on wizard list.
Hold on. What level are those spells? I
First-
don't think I
First
don't
and
think I have
second.
I don't have mage armor on my list, and I don't have Misty Step either.
Yeah, because this is not a because this particular version of Necromancer is not based on a wizard.
Oh, it's not. Ah, I didn't realize
It's
that.
I
more
think it's more
cleric-y.
cleric. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's more of the idea of like because he has the healing where he can drain health and redistribute it and things like that. So it's not because there is no official Necromancer. So we looked at like I think we'll look like 3 different ones, and some of them are just insane. And
I assumed it was just a necromancy school wizard.
no, this is an actual like class, separate class.
My
homebrew.
mistake. That explains why I was very confused by your healing not adding up with what I remembered for that class.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's more of a cleric basis. But additionally, the last thing that you find in there is a potion of healing, just a regular, whatever it is, 2d4 plus 2, whatever.
All right. Signa or Ragna, potion. You two are usually up in the front.
I can heal myself if
As I
necessary.
say, Signa will take the potion because Ragna can already heal people. Signa can't.
All right. All right. I will go give a look at the other door at the end of the hall. And this one appears to be locked too, you said?
But
All right.
the lock appears to be extremely damaged.
Like to the point where it would be easier to open or
Oh yeah,
much
like
harder?
you feel like you could probably because it's just like it's almost like a padlock. It looks like
Okay.
you could almost just grab the padlock pocket, just pull on it, and it would probably
Alright.
just break.
All right,
Before
I'll
we
just
get
look to I'll take a couple steps back and just say, Signa, I think you could handle this one if maybe just knock the lock off first.
Ah. Before we get too far, who's taking the rest of that stuff in that chest?
The 3 obsidian stones
Mm-hmm.
were 10 gold each.
While you
Who's
guys are
taking
doing that
them?
real quick, somebody's calling me, so I got to take this real quick.
All right. Well, William just doesn't want to take stuff because he works for you guys and doesn't want it to look like he's taking anything. So he vehemently tries handing you guys the stuff.
I mean, I'll record them on Sam's sheet. I just need the list of them again. So 3 obsidian
I got you.
stones.
Yeah, it was 3 obsidian stones worth 10 gold each. I
Yep.
think it was another 25 gold pieces.
Got that.
The healing potion.
Yep. And then the spell scrolls.
Yeah, it was Misty Step, Mage Armor, and Dancing Lights.
Okay. All right. It's a lot of stuff.
She's
That
gonna
spell
come back with
scroll.
a full sheet.
Yeah, that spell scroll of Misty Step is, if you go by book prices, is pretty valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, what I do for the pricing is that whatever and I think a lot of, I mean, this is not like something I'm making up. Whatever like the value is, usually you can sell it for half.
Yep, that's pretty typical. I think that still puts it at like 250 gold
Nice.
for the Misty Step one, because I think second level spell scrolls are valued at like 500.
So, were you just pulling the
Yes.
lock off this door
So sure, rip and tear.
until it is done? Um, so yeah, you can kind of see this is similar where it looks like there used to be corridors that have been excavated at this point, torn up, and you can see different. Now you can see different passageways to other various sections of the compound.
William's gonna kind of look and just say, "Well, this probably goes back to the altar room."
We didn't see a way out of that altar room, though.
No, I mean that this wall, like it's
Oh.
probably between
Oh,
us
yeah.
and it, not
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
I wonder if it leads to the door that we saw.
Probably going up this way would lead to the hallway that was too tight to walk down.
Mm-hmm.
So the only new direction would be where Arvid is and beyond.
Actually, that. Yeah.
Before we get into this too, I do want to give everybody the option here. So I would guess, if I had to estimate, if you want to fully explore this place, maybe another 30 minutes or so, and it's just getting kind of late, so I want to just check with everybody to see, like, are we good to go? Do you want to stop here? What do you want to do? Like I said, I would
I have
estimate.
dinner on the way, so I'm going to be up for a while. So
Okay. So
I'm good.
I just wanted, like I said, I mean, I don't know. I'm estimating roughly another 30 minutes or so for you guys to fully explore this area. I just, again, wanted to, 'cause I know for Rob, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. So,
I always forget you're so far ahead, Rob.
Yes. Oh joy.
so it's up to you guys. I mean, we can stop here and pick it up next time, or we can.
I'm absolutely fine either way.
Yeah, I'm going to continue if people want to.
Yeah, I'm good to continue. Rob, where are you at, though?
This isn't the latest I've ever played, so I'm fine.
That's a standard to hold it to.
So, yeah.
I've woken up at 7 in the morning and finished a session at 7 in the morning.
Nice.
Oh God.
Ew.
All right. So yeah, we'll try to keep the explanations and stuff brief here. So, yeah, the Arvid, the skeleton that you're looking at, appears to be a bit older. Does not appear. You would not assume that this is related to the party that Katarina came with.
Okay.
This tunnel up this way, I'm assuming it looks like it's the one that just loops back.
I actually, it loops back into a dead end. For some reason, this hallway exists. I don't even know. Whoever made this map, I don't know exactly what they were thinking, but that is just a weird U-shaped thing that goes nowhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like an
Very weird.
outline of the other room.
Yeah, it kind of is, but it's not. But it literally has walls closing
Yeah,
in. I
the
don't
same way
understand.
with that other little like half tunnel section before
Yeah.
that was like that's not quite right.
If you guys ever want to play Rust with me, I will show you how to double stack buildings and stuff so you can not get raided. So
Yeah,
it is
you know.
definitely build worthy.
I mean, it could have been like, yeah, it could have been like the idea being it was a passage that you could like hide in or something. I don't know.
Short rest area.
Yeah.
Why did that sound like you just saw something very bad?
Yeah, with this intense music.
I'll just point out to Ragnar, to the right.
Oh, it seems like that might be an important room.
Well, should we look up north first before we go in there?
Looks like north's a dead end.
Well, then...
So
And then-
in this like little partial thing, you can see that there are 2 doors. One of them being to the south door, which you would recognize, obviously, Arvid. It was just the other side where that skeleton was.
Yeah.
And
then
then
one up
there's
here.
that one, and then there was also, recall, that one spot where
Up
the wall was knocked
there.
down to the north. Yeah, that you didn't look at. So you have those
Okay.
things to look at as well.
All right. Yeah. William is gonna before he goes in, he's gonna look to Ragnar and just say, "Any symbols that you recognize? Good, bad."
Ragnar will look into the room.
He'll kind of like it looks like some of the same flooring and architecture as the previous room, so I'm hoping it stays within the dwarven realm.
Yeah, from here she can see everything. So, does she recognize any symbolism?
You can do a religion check if you'd like.
I
Hell yeah.
This symbol, because I didn't draw it, obviously this is on the map. We will pretend, and it's you can kind of use your imagination, considering. But this appears to be sort of a so where they look like they're sort of like tentacles or like sun rays or whatever. We will say that those are actually like arms. So this does appear to be a symbol of Torog, the crawling king.
So
Which is
the-
sort of a dwarven, could be a dwarven deity, kind of, sort of, but yeah.
Post
Evil dwarves.
construction, pre construction, add on.
Yeah, this, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, it's old, but you would imagine that this is probably not original to the temple, considering you would see that the surrounding the statues do appear to be so like the statues around the room, not this one, but these two statues do appear to be statues of Moradin. So oddly, it's Moradin looking down on the symbol of Torog.
Right.
And then you can see like some glass vials
Hmm.
on a bench over here, and you can also see a glowing green stone in this statue's hand.
I'll take one step forward. And is anything magical within this room?
Yes.
All right.
All of the bottles appear to be, and I think there's one missing actually. Well, doesn't. There do appear to be all of those bottles appear to be magical, and you would have assumed that the stone was magical, but it is not. It's not glowing. And the statues and the symbol and everything just appear to be normal.
Well, apart from the potions, everything else seems non-magical. But that doesn't mean there's no traps.
All right.
If you
We
want to
can
do
both give it a look.
investigation or perception, you can do for traps.
I'll do a perception.
William, you would recognize that the stone appears to be trapped. Not the stone, but looking at this statue, you see like kind of
Yes.
grooves in the hand where you get the idea that if you touched that stone and pulled it off, the hand would move and something bad would probably happen.
Yeah. All right. I will
It's
point
just
that
too
out
obvious, right?
immediately. Yeah.
It's
I will
like,
point that out immediately. Like, do not touch that stone. At least yet. The hand seems something bad will happen if you touch it and take the stone right away.
could
It
we
is
So
not
swap
the
it with-
diamond in the rough.
Could we swap it with one of our gems that we've gotten?
like a sand, and then you can run and a boulder will chase you out of the.
No, we
That
still need to search around.
That is possible. But I think we gather everything and everything else before we even think about touching it.
I'm fine with that. We do have a couple of doors to check.
Makes sense.
Door.
All right. I will go grab the potions real quick.
All of them.
I mean, Can I use the same investigation to make sure there's no traps over there? Well, I already did. I already looked for traps in the room. So yeah, yeah, I will. I mean, I know Rob has or Arvid has on detect magic. So if he doesn't stop me, I would just grab him.
Are you investigating them? I mean, looking at them, or are you just grabbing them?
Oh no, I want to like actually look at them first, see if there's labels or anything would be nice. But other than that, if they don't say anything, I would kind of just grab them until someone could look at them better later. So I'll like investigate, make sure there's no, I lift this and something bad happens type of stuff.
Why this one? Okay, so there was another one there. It was just on the wrong layer. So you should see 5 of them. Do you see 5 potions?
It looks like 2 yellow, a green, a red, and a purple.
Yeah. bluish purple, yeah.
Yeah,
purple.
yeah.
So are you picking up the potions and looking at all of them?
Oh, you're making me
you
not
can-
want to. I will say
Well,
that.
I'm just double checking to make sure. So, or I just want to know if you're looking at them or if you're just like grabbing them and putting in your
No,
pouch.
I'm not gonna just grab and throw them in a pouch. I'm gonna look at them first to make sure they look safe to grab, and if they do, I will grab them.
Okay. So picking them up, the yellow potions look like yellow potions. Green one looks like a green potion. The red one looks like a red potion. The blue one is the only one that uh, looks a little off when you like pick it up and look at it.
Okay.
It appears to have, it's sort of like a translucent blue, and there appears to be like, at first glance, almost like a figurine floating in it.
Right. Yeah. Well, since Arvid is now back, I will ask him to take a look before I pick them up like completely and put them in my bag. Perhaps he knows more about them than I do.
Well,
So,
okay.
yeah, he's looking at the potion. So, um, you would probably need to do. No one can identify, right? Like, because we have no wizards.
No, I have detect magic, which I don't think tells me the school of anything.
No.
It does tell you the school, but not out anything else.
And I don't even know how to describe what the schools would be. But so I will say that these are potions that you would somewhat recognize anyway. So like there's two yellow potions, there's a green one, and there is a red one, and then there is the final one is a translucent blue one, which has what appears to be like a 3-inch tall, like what appears to be almost like a figurine of a person floating in it, which you have never seen before. Upon if you would like, I mean, I'll just give you upon like if you look at it a little bit closer, it's a female figurine with dark hair and what appears to be wearing like green sort of traveling clothes or something.
Does that fit the description of the woman who came here previously?
You don't have a description of her. You don't know what she looks like.
Awesome. Well, those two are yellow. That one's green. That one's red. That one's bluish with something in it.
Okay. Do you think they're safe to take? And we could investigate further once we're out of here?
I mean, sure. Like I said, they're magical, but I don't know if they're trapped.
Well, then, if my whatever it was, 14 investigation doesn't make it or doesn't let me think they're trapped, I will go ahead and pick them up and put them in my bag.
Okay. Nothing happened. Put them in your bag.
All right. Then, yeah, I will just follow the rest of the group now.
Didn't we come here for the emerald?
That's a very
It's
good question.
trapped, so we're kind of waiting.
And you really came here to find Katarina's like spell book and research papers. You didn't really come for the. She came for the emerald. But upon reading what you in the last session, determining that she was probably looking for the wrong thing, emerald is actually probably not what she thought it was. The Madari Stunstone is what she was probably looking for, and she just didn't know it.
Is this,
mean-
oh, God.
It should still be a valuable item, even if it is a little cursed.
We'll
No?
come back to
I mean,
it.
we'll go back, we'll take it. The issue is just we don't want to topple the whole place down before we've had a chance to look at everything else.
So
Okay.
remember, it was the Evergreen Emerald she believed to be a magical item. Arvid confirmed that that is not a magical item.
I thought it was magical. It just made people obsessive. Like it could heal anything.
No, the
but-
one
No,
in the
what he's saying
wall
is-
right there is not magic.
Yeah, he didn't
Oh,
detect
okay.
magic in that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, so that one's a play. I got you.
Like, yeah, the other emerald is probably a very real thing. It's just not that one.
Oh. My bad.
So how's this door looking?
You could probably just knock it down. It does appear to be locked, but again,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Rip and tear. Let's do it. Huh. Is that a chest I see?
Yes.
Perhaps check for traps first.
Yep,
Actually, even though the map doesn't, I mean, this is not drawn that way. The chest is open, and it appears to have some ready clothes in it.
Huh.
Just in case anything goes boom, I will check horribly as we're going in anyway.
Yeah, you get that this was probably like a. So looking at it, and then like some of the ratty clothes and stuff, they look like they are ceremonial like robes. So you kind of get the idea that this may have been like a kind of like almost like a closet for some of the regalia of the clergy. That it was just left and rotted. So there's really not actually very much in it. Nothing of particular value. It looks like it was just where they came to, put on their robes and stuff for worshiping.
All right, so
Well,
now
there's
we'll go
that.
back up to the other room
Wait,
that we
before
missed.
before we move on, I'm a bit fatigued. Can we take a break?
Break.
Yes, you
Okay.
see those spiders did a number on me, and I'm still feeling a little wobbly.
I suppose we could.
Take a short rest real quick.
I can do you need healing. I could do that for you.
Oh, I think I'll be fine after a short rest.
Are you sure?
Yes, thank you very much.
Fine.
Okay, and then how does the hit die healing? Just roll them.
Roll them. Add your con modifier,
Okay.
which it's already
Oh.
doing.
Regna will do one just to get up to full again.
Sure, I'll spend a
That'll
die.
top me off.
That still tops me up to full.
I'm not rolling any. I was already at full.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very careful not to kill Sam's character while she's not here.
Oh, thank
So
you
an
very
hour
much, guys.
later, as you guys sat there, you're not going to be attacked by giant werewolves.
The mole men are coming.
Yes. No. Nothing
Okay.
happens.
So we'll go back up to the other door and then head back down here after we've checked everything else for the stone.
Sure.
And I'll check the door. I think I already checked these doors for traps up here, actually.
Yep.
All right, so
And,
yeah,
it's locked.
It-
but
if Ragnar could do it again,
no,
Sigmund
this
could do
one
it again, I
actually
will.
does appear to be in better shape. You
Okay,
probably need
then
that
this
more.
one I will.
I'll guide you.
I assume I don't need the D4.
No.
All right, and then I will move back and let either Ragnar or Signa go.
Regna will open it this time.
And when you open the door, it like you get like a blast of like dust in your face. It's just this room is extremely dusty.
She waves a hand and does a polite cough. Perhaps check for traps before we set in?
Sure. Everything looks perfectly safe to me.
All right.
So the first thing that you notice, though, is as soon as you walk in the room, and you kind of now are a little bit disgusted by the dust that you inhaled. is that in the middle of this room is the decomposed body of what appears to be a human male wearing rusty chainmail armor. He's got a mace and a holy symbol around his neck, and you get the idea that you probably just breathed in this decomposing skin cells and dust and just kind of gross.
You're
Well,
Silly
basically cannibal.
mortals needing to breathe.
Yeah.
We're all going to be ill after this, besides you, of course.
I hold out my
You get
hand
used
give
to
her
it
a high
after a
five
while.
with the sopping wet arm.
Sam just got home from work and she says, "Hi, everyone."
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
What is the
So
religious symbol?
it is a Melora.
Oh,
And so you would imagine that this is another party member. He has 14 silver pieces on him as well.
All right.
Additionally, you find a couple of barrels of fetid water. There's a small barrel of very, very stale beer. And there is so at the southern part of there where there's like this broken up like sort of like cabinet thing here. You find a number of really weird sort of like curiosities, I guess. There's like shells and fossils and skulls and bones, and there's like some preserved organs in bottles. There's like rodent and reptile skins. Just some weird crap that seems out of place and strange. But you would imagine now you've probably found all of Katarina's adventuring party.
But not her information we were looking for.
Correct.
and Ragnar will look back at William and just say, "Did you notice any other hidden doors, perhaps? I suppose we haven't investigated that green gem."
I mean, if there are going to be any, this room would be where it makes sense for them. A couple of other hallways, certainly, but a lot of the rooms we've been into adjoining rooms already.
I will say you have been everywhere in the.
Yeah, Ragnar will attempt to carefully search this one. There seems to be a lot of ratty books in here.
Maybe she was
Tina will
vaporized.
search it less carefully.
I think Arvid is right. I think she's in that bottle right there, and we're gonna have to find that out somehow.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look, I mean, you can roll investigation.
I already
I
rolled mine
shall
sucked, so-
assist William.
I already rolled it. Mine sucked.
Yeah, I'll just give myself investigation. Advantage. Give myself investigation. God damn it.
Yeah, so I mean, you don't
The
find any.
barbarian skill rolls have been fire tonight. Just
I know.
saying.
Again, the only thing that you find a few primitive tools and weapons along with like all that weird stuff that I mentioned, but other than that, like they're the books that you find are not anything, not spell books or anything like that. Just storybooks, basically. Nothing that you find
Ragnar
individually is
just
worth very much money.
Ragnar
And the
just-
book on the altar wasn't any of her notes?
Nope.
No, that was the
Holy
the
Book of
dwarven
Lord
book
and-
that was like falling apart.
I think whatever happened to her, it probably happened to her after she took the quote-unquote emerald.
And I was really hoping to find something to help Rhea.
Well, there might still be something here. We'll just have to give it a proper look.
William is gonna, as we're like approaching this, kind of look at everyone and just say, "Trust me, this is not something I want to say, but I am probably the fastest one out of us, so I can probably grab it and run if necessary."
Does anyone have a rope?
We could try to
Yeah.
with one of our gems. Don't we have some that we've picked up?
So, Matt, I've got a net. Could I put the rope on the net and then basically, like, from outside the door, grab the emerald out of the hand?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Before we get too far, William, how do you know it's trapped?
I looked at it when I was looking around this room. You could tell there's grooves in the hand where the gem is being held. It's probably a counterweight or something. But if we take the gem out, something will happen.
So could you disarm that?
Um, I'm assuming if I would have been able to disarm it, you would have told me already, Matt.
Well, I mean, you didn't attempt to do that.
Oh, I mean, I could try. All right.
I
Sure.
forgot thieves' tools can be used for such things.
And I'll stand next to him and just put my hand on his shoulder while he's doing it.
Alright, so this is a thieves' tools roll.
With guidance.
All right. 19.
You are able to basically wedge the tools in there enough to get the so you think that if the weight was removed that it would not go any, it wouldn't drop. Which is what the way you think that it would happen is that if it were removed, the hand would drop and something would happen.
All right. I will remove the gem then.
All right. Nothing happens. You do see the hand click a little bit like it's trying to drop, but it stops.
William's gonna kind of just look and say, "Okay, we should probably leave, just in case it doesn't hold."
Fair.
Yep, we're ready to
Good
go.
work.
And if you guys want to stop there, I can move you all outside of this so you don't have to
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah.
Whoop-ow.
I'll actually move here out. It's there. So
All right. And where we were in here before, like when we went up in here, there was nothing else up to the north of us before, like the entrance.
yeah, just the ruined
Alright.
buildings.
Yeah, I mean, you said we were everywhere in there.
You explored everything in the map.
All right.
So you guys, if you can investigate the gem, you can, and that's I guess the only thing that you haven't really done.
Yeah. Sure. I will pull it out and give it a quick look over. I'm just gonna do investigation. I don't know much about magic, so just no Arcanum, nothing like that.
Well, we know it's not magical already, so
True.
I'll give it a go. Because it's fun just being able to give myself advantage for investigation checks.
Oh, you needed it too.
Like, that incisive sense is such a stupid thing to have.
pretty good. Looking at it, it is quite obvious that it is a green piece of glass.
I take it from William's hand unless he refuses.
Oh no.
I just throw it over my shoulder.
Not what we were looking for at all.
No, it's glass.
And we assume it shatters when it lands on the ground.
It wouldn't break, but it might crack.
Right. On the good news, I like to look at things in a positive way, but I don't know how to do that in this situation. We came for something and left with absolutely nothing near what we looked for.
And you also see Ragna is looking pretty upset.
Hand on shoulder. Well, let's take some positives out of this. We've cleared a place that's supposedly cursed. We've put someone to rest on our journey here. And while no, we didn't find what we were looking for, we've also ruled out one of the things that allows us to focus on others.
Also, wait, the possible other good, the potions. We don't know what they do yet. Perhaps one of them could be helpful to your sister.
I suppose we can ask Dresden when we're back.
At the end of the day,
Especially
all we can do is keep looking anyway.
the one that had the little figurine floating in it is especially interesting, at least.
I suppose.
Yeah, none of you would have seen something like that before. The other ones, I mean, I'm hesitant to like say that you know exactly what they are, but the potions, the other potions, like are recognizable as magical potions.
Yeah. Um. So, do we want to head straight back towards Brightdale, or just travel through the forest the entire way? Um. Just so everyone is aware, my vote will be to get out of the forest as quickly as possible.
Well, if I remember correctly, Johan wanted to visit that place just a few days away.
Yeah, then it seemed to be on the way back to Stormhaven. I don't mind stopping there a moment.
Um.
I mean, if there's a clue near here regarding Katarina, it would probably be in Oakhart at this point.
Right. The trees in this forest have can hurt you, so I do not want to stay in it. But I will go where you all wish to.
Well, the trees won't hurt you. It's more of a case of they sensed something was wrong and tried to stop it.
Uh, every night that we get cold, we start a fire. What if we grab the wrong wood? I do not want to be strangled by a tree in my sleep because I killed its son.
Well, as long as you only grab dried dead wood, you're fine.
William kind of just shrugs and um through the forest it is.
Nobody has message, right?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
I do.
I would say because you could, you could try and, call Onveer, say, hey, can you like guide us through these woods, please?
Yeah.
Well, we will go ahead and stop there then.